Chapter 1355. The experts of the heavenly Tao immortal realm were also excited. As long as this powerful young Master Tian made a move, how could the White Cloud Immortal Palace not be destroyed? Furthermore, they could use this opportunity to tie him to the heavenly Tao immortal realm. With such a strong support, it would be easy to sweep through the immortal realm. Suddenly Long Xiaojun said coldly, "How can you rely on an outsider to expand the heavenly Tao immortal realm's territory? I'm willing to go to the White Cloud Immortal Palace. Even without young Master Tian's help, we can still conquer the White Cloud Immortal Palace." After thinking for a while, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong nodded. Sky-bearing great world. The army formed by the heavenly Tao immortal realm's cultivators broke through the starry fog. A material continent appeared in front of them. This used to be one of the immortal realms of the sky-bearing great world. Although it was not big, the natural spiritual energy was abundant. It was now occupied by the White Cloud Immortal Palace. Lord of Five Poisons Li Haojie, we're finally going to meet again. After this meeting, we brothers will stand at the peak of this immortal realm. Standing in the middle of the army, Su Fang looked down at the material continent, feeling excited. The densely packed White Cloud Immortal Palace's cultivators formed a formation in the void above the material continent, waiting solemnly. There were no less than 500,000 of them. The White Cloud Immortal Palace's strength was also quite shocking. The heavenly Tao immortal realm's side was even more shocking. Apart from the hundreds of thousands of heavenly Tao immortal realm and sky-bearing great world's cultivators who had besieged the White Cloud Immortal Palace, Immortal Emperor Tian Ong sent out another 300,000 soldiers. The total number was no less than 1,000,000. Young Master Tian, watch the battle from the back. Watch how I take down the White Cloud Immortal Palace, Long Xiaojun said domineeringly. Seeing Huang Lingyao, who was standing beside Su Fang, Long Xiaojun's eyes flashed with a cold light. Huang Lingyao had already fallen out with Long Xiaojun, and Long Xiaojun had been severely reprimanded by Immortal Emperor Tian Ong for this. Seeing Huang Lingyao sticking to Su Fang, Long Xiaojun's hatred for Su Fang, especially for Huang Lingyao, turned into burning anger. Young Master Long has the help of the demon race. Naturally, he will win. This young master will wait for good news. Su Fang glanced at the black-robed old man behind Long Xiaojun. A cold smile appeared on his face under the mask, and his eyes seemed to be frozen. The black-robed old man behind Long Xiaojun was an expert of the evil Tao. He had a vast evil energy and a faint death energy. This was a resurrected ancient devil comparable to an immortal emperor. The heavenly Tao immortal realm was indeed not simple. Not only did it have the backing of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect, but it also secretly colluded with the devil race. The resurrected ancient devil's eyes emitted a gray demonic light as it swept over Su Fang, revealing a look of fear and greed. Obviously, it was afraid of Su Fang's fire-attributed aura, and at the same time, it wanted to devour Su Fang's powerful body. A resurrected ancient devil dares to be so arrogant in front of me, Su Fang? You have a death wish. Su Fang laughed coldly in his heart. Long Xiaojun mobilized the army of the heavenly Tao immortal realm and charged toward the White Cloud Immortal Palace. The resurrected ancient devil transformed into a ferocious heavenly devil. It emitted a monstrous evil energy and death energy, turning the surrounding thousands of miles into a domain of death. This caused the void to be filled with the aura of death and violence. The billowing evil energy kept devouring the lives of the cultivators of the White Cloud Immortal Palace. An immortal emperor of the White Cloud Immortal Palace charged out. He released a burst of energy and condensed a white cloud to resist the domain of the resurrected ancient devil. The heavenly Tao immortal realm took advantage of the situation to attack. Immortal Emperor He of the Long family and an immortal emperor of the sky-bearing great world also charged toward the array of the White Cloud Immortal Palace. The army of the heavenly Tao immortal realm had an absolute advantage in terms of numbers. The number of experts also overwhelmed the White Cloud Immortal Palace. Soon, they tore a big hole in the array and it was about to collapse. Suddenly, the resurrected ancient devil took out a scroll and unfolded it in the air. Waves of demonic smoke poured out and rolled in all directions. The demonic smoke contained a strong demonic poison that corroded the void and caused layers of ripples to appear. Giant gluttonous devils and devils with monstrous death energy and evil energy kept coming out of the scroll. They were all monsters that had died millions of years ago. The demonic smoke and the resurrected devils and gluttonous devils not only attacked the cultivators of the White Cloud Immortal Palace, but also some cultivators of the Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm. This scroll was an ancient demonic artifact. Young Master Tian, it seems like you don't have to do anything this time. Long Xiaojun, who was watching the battle from behind, laughed loudly. 5 Poison real body, poison domain space. A cold shout exploded from the array of the White Cloud Immortal Palace like thunder. Countless blood-venomous insects, horned scorpions, white toads, silver snakes, and spirit spiders gathered into a rolling black cloud and rushed toward the army of the Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm. Some of these monsters spewed out poisonous gas, and some peeled off poisonous patterns from their bodies. They formed a vast and boundless poison domain that enveloped the army of the Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm, as well as the resurrected devils and gluttonous devils. Sizzle! The cultivators of the Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm were corroded by the poison. Some of the weaker cultivators' chi fields quickly collapsed and their bodies fell off layer by layer. Some of the stronger cultivators released their chi fields or used their Taoist artifacts to resist the poison's corrosion. Only the cultivators of the Xian Immortal Realm and above were not affected much. However, these cultivators were the elites of the major forces. There were not many of them, so the attack was slowed down. The resurrected devils and gluttonous devils released from the scrolls and demonic artifacts were also full of demonic poison. In the poison domain space, they were even more miserable than the cultivators. Like snow under the scorching sun, they were corroded layer by layer and their bodies flowed with stinky black liquid. The Lord of 5 Poisons has also grown to such a powerful level. Seeing this, Su Fang was shocked and surprised. The one who attacked was the Lord of 5 Poisons. At this time, his 5 Poisons' real body had clearly improved. Among the 5 poisons in the poison domain space, there was also the devil corroding poison, which had a fatal effect on the devils. Devil corroding poison. How can there be such a poison in this immortal realm that can restrain the devils? The resurrected ancient devil let out a shocked and angry roar. At the same time, he shot a beam of demonic light towards the scroll above. Dense demonic smoke gushed out from the demonic tool, condensing into a huge desolate that was thousands of feet tall. Qiu Qixiong had a fetish for prostrating himself? Salt in the mouth? 3. The yellow turtle leech seeks help in distress. The immortal emperors of White Cloud Immortal Palace stepped forward to block the resurrected ancient devil. Exin choking Z Shaoyang Tong Xing Bai Lan Yinan Shaoyang Tong Xing Bai Lan Yinan Shaoyang Tong Lang Lu? The yellow turtle leech seeks help in distress. Boom. It was a monster that was about the same height as a normal person and looked similar to the devil race. However, it emitted a terrifying aura and spat out a highly toxic poison. Immortal Emperor He, the sky-bearing great world's immortal emperor, and desolation? Song? Schools. Immortal Emperor He and the other immortal emperors from the sky-bearing great world had a drastic change in expression. Such a potent poison was a fatal threat to immortal emperors like them. They quickly retreated, not daring to touch a single strand of it. Revive famine? Sijiro? Dan Tan? Long Che Beijia, Huangzhen Ti Xiaotu Chumu? Defects? Simmering the beans? Jinshi? Huan? Chermio Wood Jinshi? Zhuang? Jinshi? Jimu Ji Lao Xian? Ciwu? Ciwu Jia? Miao Miao Ji Huan? Feng Mu Dong Ji Huan? Roar. Roar, 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 roar. Another earth-shattering roar. Countless big goblin, shrouded in a blood-red radiance, emitted a monstrous demonic aura that shook the heavens. They formed an army and charged out of the White Cloud Immortal Palace's array. The Heavenly Law Immortal Palace's army was instantly defeated and retreated thousands of miles away. Only with the help of the resurrected Ancient Devil and the two Immortal Emperors' all-out defense did they manage to stop the big goblin army's charge. A black-clothed young man flew out of the White Cloud Immortal Palace's array and stood beside the Lord of Five Poisons. Li Haojie. Long Xiaojun, who had thought that victory was within his grasp, was shocked. Then, he flew into a rage out of humiliation and had to swallow his anger. He cupped his fists and said to Su Fang, "The White Cloud Immortal Palace is relying on the cultivator who can use the poisonous space, the demon catcher, and a monster that came out of nowhere to contend with the Heavenly Law Immortal Palace. Heavenly Young Master, please send your experts to kill all of them." Huang Lingyao had some impression of the Lord of Five Poisons and Li Haojie. She was also suspicious of the ghouls. Her eyes were full of doubts as she thought, is Su Fang secretly supporting the White Cloud Immortal Palace? Huang Lingyao felt a little uneasy. I thought the young master of the Long family could take down the White Cloud Immortal Palace in one fell swoop, Su Fang sneered coldly. Long Xiaojuan's face turned pale. Swoosh, swoosh. The three immortal emperors were released from the Zhenlong realm by Su Fang. They were Dugu Mujian, Old Monster Zhu Tian, and perfected Peng Hua. Su Fang didn't release the immortal fiend monster because it had devoured a large amount of resources and natural treasures from the Great Qin immortal realm. Its physical body had recovered a bit, and its appearance was becoming more and more similar to Su Fang's true body. If he released it, it would definitely arouse the suspicions of Huang Lingyao and Long Xiaojun. Kill! Dugu Mujian gathered a sword intent in his right hand and slashed in the air. A fierce and vast sword chi burst out as if it could cut the sky. In an instant, none of the millions of cultivators present had the illusion that they had been cut in half by Dugu Mujian's sword. They were all trembling. The strength of a peerless sword cultivator was terrifying. Whoosh! The sword aura formed by the fierce sword intent swept through the body of the resurrected ancient fiend. Ah! The resurrected ancient fiend only had time to let out a surprised and terrified scream before its body was turned into a bloody mist by the sword aura. Even its primordial spirit was incinerated by the sword intent. The sword aura didn't disappear. Like a river of sword intent, it swept the giant desolation again. Base. Whoosh, whoosh. Giant desolation? Blowing Na Bun, spreading Huang Tsang grass, planting yearning for our nunnery? Provoking Pu Zhen almost at the same time. Reverend Peng Hua activates a water-type flying sword, which bursts out a terrifying divine might like a flood, releasing those devils, gobbling devils, and surging devil smoke from the magic scrolls, then suddenly bursts out with a strange burning and boiling momentum, exploding with a boom. The resurrected devil race and gluttonous fiend exploded and their bodies collapsed. The billowing demonic smoke was also incinerated by the burning water-type sword intent. Su Fang's two subordinates unleashed earth-shattering supernatural powers, which instantly intimidated everyone. For a moment, the huge battlefield, which was filled with millions of people, was completely silent. Everyone was trembling with fear. Young Master Tian, what is the meaning of this? Long Xiaojun shouted coldly and questioned Su Fang. The experts of the Heavenly Tao Immortal World and the Sky-Bearing Great World also looked at Su Fang in shock. This young master doesn't like the devil race and can't tolerate the devil race being arrogant in front of this young master. It's that simple. Su Fang said indifferently, but there was an incomparable domineering aura that soared into the sky. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1356. This young master doesn't like the devil clan, was like the voice of the heavenly Tao Bi. Then, There was a resurrected ancient devil comparable to the devil emperor, and desolation with the strength of an immortal emperor? PP? Centipede PPP? Silkworm trailing Changtang? What a domineering and powerful young Master Tian! You! Long Xiaojun almost spat out a mouthful of blood, but in front of such a powerful young Master Tian, he did not dare to say a word. A strong sense of reverence uncontrollably rose from the hearts of many cultivators. Many cultivators, especially the higher-ups of the heavenly Tao immortal realm, cheered for young Master Tian in their hearts. The righteous Tao and the devil Tao had always been irreconcilable. The hatred between them had been passed down from ancient times until now. In recent years, the devil clan had become more rampant and active. Countless cultivators, especially female cultivators, had mysteriously disappeared. Many cultivation forces had also disappeared overnight. Naturally, they had all fallen into the hands of the devil clan. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong had secretly colluded with the devil clan. This time, Long Xiaojun had directly let a resurrected ancient devil appear in public. Even some of the higher-ups of the heavenly Tao immortal realm were very dissatisfied, but who dared to say a word? Now that young Master Tian had made a move and killed a resurrected ancient devil, these people were very happy and admired young Master Tian very much. At this time, Dugu Mujian also coldly said, "Kill every devil you see." Immortal Pringhua said indifferently, "The devil clan should all die." Of these two immortal emperors, one's beloved wife had been used as a fetus by the devil clan to breed offspring, and the other one had almost become the nourishment for the growth of the young devil clan. When they saw the devil clan, they were full of killing intent. Even the way they looked at Long Xiaojun became fierce. "Watch how this young master subjugates the White Cloud Immortal Palace." Su Fang let out a relaxed laugh and flew towards the White Cloud's Immortal Palace alone. Under the gaze of everyone, Su Fang stopped above the White Cloud Immortal Palace's array. He stood with his hands behind his back and asked domineeringly, "This young master is here. White Cloud Immortal Palace still refuses to submit." There was a moment of silence. The immortal emperor from the White Cloud Immortal Palace was a middle-aged man with white eyebrows. He was the palace master of the White Cloud Immortal Palace. He cupped his fists at Su Fang and said, "I have heard of young Master Tian's fame. However, if young Master Tian wants the White Cloud Immortal Palace to submit to the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm, the White Cloud Immortal Palace will never obey." Su Fang's voice suddenly turned cold as he said, "What? Is White Cloud Immortal Palace not afraid that I'll wipe you out from this immortal realm? Or does the White Cloud Immortal Palace think that I don't have such strength?" The palace master of the White Cloud Immortal Palace shouted, "The White Cloud Immortal Palace would rather die than submit to the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm. However, the White Cloud Immortal Palace is willing to submit to young Master Tian." Whoosh! The people from the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm and White Cloud Immortal Palace burst into an uproar. The uproar spread across the void like a tide. Su Fang raised his eyebrows and asked, "Why would I want the White Cloud Immortal Palace? If you are not willing, then White Cloud Immortal Palace will fight to the death with the Heavenly Tao Immortal Palace," the palace master of White Cloud Immortal Palace said firmly. He would rather die than submit. Su Fang was hesitant. At this moment, Li Haoran suddenly said, "What is the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm? What makes you think you are qualified to make me submit? I am also willing to submit to you, young master. Please take me in." "I am also willing to submit to you, young master," the Lord of Five Poisons also said decisively. However, he secretly sent a voice transmission to Su Fang through his vital spirit. "You brat, you really showed off today. White Cloud Immortal Palace, please take us in." A young man in black among the higher-ups of White Cloud Immortal Palace shouted loudly. He was the Bai Hua Immortal Master. "We are willing to submit to you, young Master Tian. Please take us in." Hundreds of thousands of cultivators from White Cloud Immortal Palace said in unison. Their voices shook the sky. Everyone from the heavenly law immortal realm was stunned. However, after careful consideration, White Cloud Immortal Palace submitting to young Master Tian was undoubtedly the best choice. Not only would they save their lives, but they would also join a peerless force. This was the best of both worlds. If the cultivators from the heavenly law immortal realm were in this situation, they would also make the same choice without hesitation. Su Fang hesitated for a while. In the end, he sighed helplessly and said, "If that is the case, I will reluctantly take you in." Swoosh, 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 swoosh. All the cultivators from White Cloud Immortal Palace gave up resisting. Su Fang activated the power of the True Dragon Realm Dharma Treasure and took them into the True Dragon Realm in batches. In a short while, the mighty army of White Cloud Immortal Palace was all gone. Everyone was shocked again. It was not that the higher-ups of the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm did not have a doctrine artifact that could accommodate hundreds of thousands of cultivators. However, the space of the doctrine artifact was isolated from the world. Cultivators could not cultivate in it. They could only stay for a short period of time. Unless they inserted a spirit vein into the space of the doctrine artifact, or used elixirs and other resources, they could live and cultivate in it for a long time. When young Master Tian appeared, he was alone. All the masters under him were in the doctrine artifact. If there were only a few masters, it would not be strange. But now, he had taken in 500,000 cultivators from White Cloud Immortal Palace. How was he going to feed them? Looking at his nonchalant appearance, this big problem was clearly not a problem for him equals, N_R. This mysterious and powerful young Master Tian not only had powerful masters under his command, but also had a peerless Dharma treasure, which shocked everyone. "Young Master Tian, you are going too far!" Long Xiaojun shouted angrily. The Heavenly Law Immortal Realm had spent so much effort and was about to annex White Cloud Immortal Palace. But now it had all fallen into the hands of others. Who could swallow this anger? "What? Young Master Long, do you want to teach me a lesson?" Su Fang said coldly. Swoosh, swoosh. Dugumujian, Immortal Penghua, and old monster Zhu Tian stared at Long Xiaojun fiercely. Long Xiaojun broke out in a cold sweat. The fear of death enveloped him. Immortal Emperor He of the Long family quickly said, "Young Master Tian, you have conquered White Cloud Immortal Palace and eliminated a powerful enemy for the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm. The Heavenly Law Immortal Realm is very grateful. Why would we blame you? Long Xiaojun is young and ignorant. Young Master Tian, please don't lower yourself to his level. If you are unhappy, ask Immortal Emperor Tian Ong to talk to me. If anyone else dares to be presumptuous in front of me, don't blame me for not showing mercy." After a pause, Su Fang's tone softened. "I am not an unreasonable person. I have more or less let down the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm by conquering White Cloud Immortal Palace. Go back and tell Immortal Emperor Tian Ong that I am willing to help him take back the constellation of 9 heavens from Emperor Ning's mansion and hand it over to the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm. Consider it my compensation to the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm." Immortal Emperor He and the Masters of the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm were all overjoyed. Although the constellation of 9 heavens had been destroyed, the Sex Foundation was still there. Moreover, the Celestial Palace was located between the Yuanlu Great World and the Xian Ao Great World. It was an independent relic in spacetime and was a key place. The constellation of 9 heavens was much more important than White Cloud Immortal Palace, which had lost its sect. More importantly, young Master Tian's actions were tantamount to declaring war on Emperor Ning's mansion. How could they not be happy? Su Fang continued, "If I make a move, it will be easy to take back the constellation of 9 heavens. However, Emperor Ning will definitely not let it go. He will definitely rush to the Celestial Palace. By then, I will no longer have the responsibility of guarding the territory of the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm." Immortal Emperor He said happily, When you take back the constellation of 9 heavens, Emperor Ning will definitely personally lead the experts of the heavenly law immortal realm to the celestial palace. At that time, I will ask for your help. I will rush to the constellation of 9 heavens now. You should also send a message to Immortal Emperor Tian Ong, tell him to be ready to take over the celestial palace. Su Fong said lightly. Then, he led the 3 Immortal Emperor experts and traveled through the void. Heavenly Law Immortal Realms King City. When Immortal Emperor Tian Ong received the message, he could not help but laugh out loud. Good, good, good. Compared with the constellation of 9 heavens, those remnants of the White Cloud Immortal Palace are nothing. I will fight Emperor Ning to the death in the constellation of 9 heavens. Situ Jie was also present. He said gloomily, Young Master Tian, this person is arrogant and domineering. He killed a resurrected demon emperor. The demon race will definitely not let this matter rest. Be careful, this person will bring you trouble. The world changed and the demon clan came back. They are extremely powerful. Even the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect had to be patient. You should not offend the demon clan because of an unknown young Master Tian. When the demon clan was mentioned, Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's expression became serious. Thank you for your reminder, Lord Situ. I will use young Master Tian to deal with Emperor Ning first. The demon clan will give them an explanation. Immortal Emperor Qi Yen, the leader of the demon clan in this immortal realm, has disappeared. The demon clan has no leader now. They will not have time to deal with me for the time being. At worst, I will give them some benefit. I will give them all the small sects and families in the heavenly law immortal realm. Now is not the time to lose. I will take the constellation of 9 heavens first. Situ Jie continued, Young Master Tian, I'm always worried about you. Lord of Heaven Xian Shu will come to this immortal realm from the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect soon. Why don't you wait for Lord of Heaven Xian Shu's arrival before fighting with Emperor Ning's mansion? Lord of Heaven Xian Shu is at the peak of the immortal emperor realm. Emperor Ning is nothing to him. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was silent for a while. Then, he said decisively, How can I trouble Lord of Heaven Xian Shu to deal with such a small matter? I will deal with it myself. I don't need to trouble you. Situ Jie did not say anything. He knew what Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was thinking. Although Long Tian Ong was from the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect, his status was low. After coming to this immortal realm, it took him millions of years to become a powerful realm lord. At this time, because of the changes in heaven and earth, the catastrophe had come to some immortal realms. Sooner or later, it would affect the whole immortal realm. Only then did the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect remember Immortal Emperor Tian Ong in this immortal realm. They tried to take back all of Long Tian Ang's forces. Even if Immortal Emperor Tian Ong had to give up his forces, he had to think for himself. He hoped to get a good position in the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect in the future. At this time, if he relied too much on the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect, he, as the realm lord of the heavenly law immortal realm, would become insignificant. Therefore, he was eager to expand his forces. At the same time, he did not want to rely on the forces of other sections. In the true dragon realm, seeing Su Fang's overall strength, not only the Lord of 5 Poisons, Li Haoran, Bai Hua Immortal Master, but everyone in the White Cloud Immortal Palace was shocked. It turned out that Su Fang had secretly sent people to contact the White Cloud Immortal Palace. That was why the Palace Lord of the White Cloud Immortal Palace cooperated with Su Fang and put on such a good show in front of the people of the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm. At this time, they understood that Su Fang's strength was more than double that of the White Cloud Immortal Palace. The White Cloud Immortal Palace had a slight advantage in terms of numbers. In terms of experts, the White Cloud Immortal Palace, which had a foundation of millions of years, was inferior to Su Fang. Moreover, the people of the White Cloud Immortal Palace were like stray dogs. They did not even have a place to stay. This was even more incomparable to Su Fang, who had a peerless spatial Dharma treasure like the true dragon realm. The palace lord of the White Cloud Immortal Palace had the intention to join Su Fang. However, when she thought of the White Cloud Immortal Palace's millions of years of heritage, she hesitated. She settled the White Cloud Immortal Palace in a mountain range in the true dragon realm that was rich in spirit qi. Su Fang, the Lord of Five Poisons, Li Haoran, the Green Feather Emperor, Bai Ling, and other big goblin from the mortal world gathered in Su Fang's Taoist temple. Everyone, next, it's time for us to join forces and sweep across this immortal realm. Start with the constellation of 9 heavens, seize the Star Palace, and use it as bait to lure Tian Ong Immortal Emperor and Tranquility Emperor. Download address, mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1357. The Constellation of 9 Heavens. It was a powerful force in the past, but it had already become history. After its destruction, the constellation of 9 heavens was divided between the residence of Emperor Ning and the Yen Xin. With the mysterious disappearance of the Yen Xin, the Huayan Shinrikyo followed in the footsteps of the constellation of 9 heavens. Now, the constellation of 9 heavens had become the territory of the residence of Emperor Ning. Whoosh! A cultivator with a sallow face appeared above the material continent of the constellation of 9 heavens. Looking down at the constellation of 9 heavens, the cultivator's eyes were filled with memories. He was Su Fang, who had come from the sky-bearing world and changed his appearance with the power of his physical body. "Come out, Emperor Ning." The domineering voice penetrated the enchantment and shook all the dojos in the constellation of 9 heavens. "How dare you? Who are you? How dare you come to the Star Palace? This guy must be tired of living. How dare he provoke the residence of Emperor Ning as a mid-stage realm immortal? Why are you talking so much? Kill him!" Angry shouts were heard as hundreds of cultivators flew over. The cultivators of the residence of Emperor Ning had always been arrogant and domineering. In recent years, the residence of Emperor Ning had been expanding, which made them even more domineering. Now that someone had come to their door and scolded the Supreme Emperor Ning, the cultivators of the residence of Emperor Ning were all furious. Without saying a word, they rushed toward Su Fang. Although these cultivators of the residence of Emperor Ning were not top experts, they were all extraordinary. One of them was a realm immortal 7 Dao realm immortal emperor, while the others were at least in the Xian immortal realm. Together, they released their aura, which gathered into a huge wave and rushed toward Su Fang. Boom! A burst of fire elemental divine power exploded from Su Fang's body. Combined with the ethereal enlightenment, the surrounding void turned into a sea of fire. The true fire of 9 suns was so overbearing that it instantly burned and shattered the chi of the cultivators of Emperor Tranquility's mansion. Except for the Celestial Emperor, the other cultivators' chi fields were burned and their bodies were burned by the divine power of fire, giving off black smoke. Su Fang took a step forward and activated the fire cloud step. A trail of fire appeared under his feet, and he instantly arrived in front of the immortal Emperor Expert. His right palm turned into a burning fire cloud, and he struck out. The fiery light of the dispersing illusory fire cloud had the ability to affect the primordial spirit and consciousness of the immortal Emperor of Tranquility Prince's mansion. His eyes blurred for a moment and he fell into a state of absent-mindedness. In a battle between experts, the slightest carelessness could affect one's life and death. The immortal Emperor of Tranquility Emperor Mansion was hit in the chest by Su Fang's palm. The 9 suns' immortal fire started to burn on this person's body. Soon, he turned into a pile of charcoal and fell down. "Who are you? How dare you come to the Star Palace? Do you really think that there is no one in the mansion of Emperor Ning?" A majestic voice suddenly came from the Star Palace. Before the voice had died away, a lofty figure appeared in the void outside the Star Palace with an unparalleled domineering aura. The Overlord's doppelganger of Tranquility Emperor? Su Fang's eyes were filled with killing intent as he glanced at the newcomer. The man was dressed in white, with a peerless momentum and a vast aura. His appearance was very similar to that of Tranquility Emperor. The immortal devil monster had cut off one of his arms, but now it had recovered. With Tranquility Emperor's strength, it was not difficult for him to recover the Overlord's doppelganger. Besides, this Overlord's doppelganger had the desolation chi of the Star Palace in addition to the aura of the Overlord's doppelganger. Obviously, the Overlord's doppelganger had merged with the power of the world of the constellation of 9 heavens. It turns out that you are a doppelganger of Tranquility Emperor. Then I won't keep you company. Su Fang turned around and left. He flapped his fire cloud wings and pierced through the star fog, toward the depths of the drifting star sand. You want to leave after killing people of Tranquility Emperor's mansion? Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger sneered and chased after him without hesitation. In an instant, Su Fang pierced through thousands of miles of void. Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger was faster. He caught up with Su Fang in an instant. A gust of momentum covered all directions, and the surrounding star sand froze instantly. Su Fang's speed suddenly slowed down. Who are you? Who sent you to provoke the Star Palace? Overlord's doppelganger said in a majestic voice, as if he was the supreme ruler of this world. You will know who I am later. As for the so-called provocation, I am here to provoke Emperor Tranquility Emperor's mansion. I am here to kill your doppelganger and seize the Star Palace. Su Fang said coldly. Kill me? Seize the Star Palace? Ah! This is the funniest joke I have heard in millions of years. No matter who you are or what kind of divine sense you have, you are not allowed to behave atrociously in front of me. Tranquility Emperor and Overlord laughed wildly. Overlord's fist, boundless divine power. Then he threw out a punch. It was as if all the power in the space was controlled by him and condensed in his fist. The golden light shone and he threw a punch at Su Fang with an overbearing momentum. Original life form. Xian Wang's 6 Paths Pagoda flew out of the heavenly dipper creation cauldron and merged with Su Fang's body quickly. Then, the experts and Big Goblin injected their genuine chi and demon aura into Xian Wang's 6 Paths Pagoda and transferred it to Su Fang. Xian Wang's 6 Paths Pagoda was only one step away from being a supreme-grade doctrine instrument. Su Fang's experts and Big Goblin were extremely powerful. At this moment, Su Fang activated his original life form. Not only did he complete it in an instant, but his power was also more than 100 times stronger than before. Rumble! 2 equally powerful and overbearing forces collided and caused a big explosion. The void in all directions shook, and the shock wave swept away the star sand and star fog within a radius of more than a dozen miles. They both retreated hundreds of feet away. They were evenly matched in this confrontation. Tranquility Emperor and Overlord's doppelganger were completely shocked. What was his realm, and what was his opponent's realm? They were almost one big realm apart, but they ended up in a tie. How could Tranquility Emperor and Overlord's doppelganger not be shocked? A stream of divine power of the world with supreme overbearing power suddenly burst out from Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger and formed an amazing shackle force that bound Su Fang. They were more than 1,000 miles away from the Star Palace. Overlord's doppelganger's strength had reached the immortal Emperor level. When he activated the divine power of the Overlord and the ethereal way of all arts, he could still control the power of the world of the Star Palace. Thus, he was like the absolute dominator in this domain. Even immortal Emperor Tian'ang was suppressed by the divine power of the world and could not exert his full strength. Ethereal enlightenment? Su Fang sneered disdainfully. The ethereal enlightenment was the constellation of 9 heavens that he had handed in years ago. When Tranquility Emperor's mansion destroyed the Star Palace, they naturally got the ethereal enlightenment. However, Su Fang had only handed in the ethereal way of all art. No matter how amazing Tranquility Emperor and Overlord's doppelganger's cultivation ability was, how could they compare with Su Fang? Moreover, Su Fang had mastered more than just the ethereal way of all art. He activated the power of the seed of the world and cooperated with the two divine powers of the ethereal enlightenment. The shackles of the divine power of the world around him were shattered. Ethereal enlightenment? How can you also know the ethereal enlightenment? Are you a remnant of the Star Palace? Tranquility Emperor and Overlord's doppelganger cried out in surprise. A little bit, but I'm still wrong, Su Fang said with a relaxed smile. It seems that I have to show you part of my strength. I am the Overlord. With a word from the Overlord, everything will submit. If I want you to be destroyed, you will be destroyed. Overlord's mantra. The Overlord's doppelganger formed a seal and sent out a purple-gold palm shadow with a terrifying power that could shatter everything. It was as if heaven and earth would submit to this supreme dominance. His voice also contained the Overlord's will that was above the heavenly way. Every word he said would become reality. Overlord's mantra. I am the Overlord. My will surpasses the heavens. The heavens cannot suppress me. Su Fang suddenly sent out a purple-gold palm print that was almost the same as the Overlord's. However, the aura was slightly different. It contained the Supreme Emperor's luck that was fused with the purple cloud Dharma spirit and the Overlord's heaven-soaring technique. At the same time, it also had the ethereal aura of destiny from the life-shrinking technique. If the heavens suppress me, I will defy the heavens. Bang! The two palm prints collided. The Overlord's doppelganger's palm print was immediately shattered. However, the palm print formed by Su Fang's mantra crushed the Overlord's doppelganger's body. The Overlord's will of the Overlord's doppelganger also collapsed instantly. Instead, it was suppressed by Su Fang's supreme aura. Puff! The Overlord's mantra of the Overlord of the Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger was broken and suppressed. He immediately suffered a backlash, as if he had failed to surpass the heavens and was suppressed by the way of heaven. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura became much weaker. How could you know the Overlord's mantra of the Overlord of the Tranquility Emperor's mansion? How could you suppress my divine power? The Overlord's doppelganger's face was full of disbelief. The unique divine sense of the Tranquility Emperor's mansion was used by the Overlord's doppelganger. Except for the Tranquility Emperor himself, no one could use it to such an extent. Now, the Overlord's doppelganger was countered by the same divine sense. It was imaginable how shocked he was. I am the Overlord. My will surpasses the heavens. The Overlord's doppelganger's body crackled and instantly turned into a giant with a height of more than 30 meters. All of a sudden, his aura suddenly soared. There was a kind of divine power that looked down upon the heavens. The Emperor's chi erupted like a volcano. Together with the power of the world of the constellation of 9 heavens, it formed the divine power of the domain. The Overlord's doppelganger replaced the way of heaven and dominated the space. As the majestic voice faded away, a shadow of the Star Palace appeared. The doppelganger of the Tranquility Emperor burned the Emperor's chi and operated the tyrannical Emperor's skyscraping technique to the extreme. Together with the control of the Star Palace, it formed the divine power of shackles and the divine power of faith. The doppelganger's momentum soared to the sky. The doppelganger's divine power spread in all directions. The doppelganger controlled the natural law of the universe and the life and death of all living things in the universe. What an overbearing tyrannical emperor's skyscraping technique! Kneel down. A cold and dignified shout was like the divine power. The shadow of the Star Palace suddenly oppressed Su Fang. The thunder of fate. He operated the divine life-shortening technique. The Tao character turned into a silent thunder of fate. Swish, swish, swish. The shadow of the Star Palace was incinerated quickly. The Overlord's doppelganger's divine power was also burned up layer by layer. The familiar scene reminded the Tranquility Emperor of the things that happened in the Star Palace. He exclaimed, You are the evil cultivator who sneaked into the Star Palace that time. You just remember it now? But it's too late. Last time, your arm brought me a lot of benefits. This time, I want not only your arm, but also your entire body and the Star Palace. Not only that, in the near future, your original body will also be mine. Su Fang made a clanging sound. You think you can kill me with just you? Where are the experts of the demon tribe and the gorilla demon? Let them come out. Before he finished his words, the divine light in the doppelganger's eyes suddenly changed. Swish, 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 swish. Dugumujian, old monster Zhu Tian, immortal Peng Hua, and the monsters of immortals and demons appeared and surrounded the Overlord's doppelganger. The Overlord's doppelganger fell into despair. I lured you out of the Star Palace because I didn't want to alert the enemy and scare your original body away. In front of me, you are just an ant. What right do you have to be arrogant? Su Fang looked at the Overlord's doppelganger with disdain. Who are you? Why do you keep going against the Emperor Ning's mansion? As far as I can remember, I have never offended such an expert like you. I'm Su Fang. Your Excellency Tranquility Emperor, do you still remember me? Su Fang's facial muscles wriggled and showed his real face. =R download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1358. You are Su Fang. Ning Emperor's clone's face was full of shock and disbelief. Tablet ebook. Su Fang. Ning Emperor had heard this name many times. Tranquility Emperor had seen this face many times. However, it was the first time for him to see Su Fang's real face. What kind of person was Ning Emperor, who was famous in the immortal area? In his mind, Su Fang was just an ant. Any expert from Emperor Ning's mansion could kill him easily. Unexpectedly. Really unexpectedly. The ant in his mind had grown to such a horrible level in just a few hundred years. With such a powerful strength, it was easy for him to kill Ning Emperor's clone and even kill Ning Emperor's original body. My original body is in danger. The Tyrant Emperor's avatar suddenly realized something, and his heart skipped a beat. Su Fang's motive for luring him out of Star Palace was not as simple as killing his Tyrant Emperor's avatar. Otherwise, with so many experts around, any one of them would have had the ability to kill him. Obviously, Su Fang wanted to use him as a whetstone to sharpen his combat ability. On the other hand, Su Fang did not want to expose his strength. His purpose was to continue luring Ning Emperor's original body to the Star Palace and then kill him. In Emperor Ning's mansion, even the experts at the peak of the immortal Emperor realm, who were several levels higher than Ning Emperor's original body, could not kill him easily. Only by luring Ning Emperor's mansion could he have a chance. Knowing Su Fang's intention, Ning Emperor's clone took a deep breath. Without hesitation, he urged the restrictive spell to communicate with Ning Emperor's mansion and warn him. Kill. The monster roared with killing intent. First, it released the power of primordial spirit to attack Ning Emperor's clone's divine aperture ocean. Then, it burst out a chi power of immortal and devil, forming a realm shackle. At this time, the monster was much more powerful than last time in the Star Palace. When primordial spirit and realm shackle burst out at the same time, Ning Emperor's divine aperture ocean was severely impacted and his body was shackled. Boom, boom, boom. Old monster Zhu Tian and perfected being Peng Hua struck out at the same time, sealing their bodies and golden cores. The second primordial spirit also flew out of the body of the immortal and devil monster that was residing in it. Tyrannically and overbearingly, it broke through the defense of the tyrannical emperor's divine aperture and devoured its consciousness. Tranquility Emperor's incarnation of Overlord fell into the control of Su Fang. Looking at the Overlord's clone, Su Fang was very excited. If he could devour this clone and fuse it with his cultivation and chi of monarch, Su Fang's cultivation would definitely rise to another level. The yellow spring blood sea would also undergo another transformation. Of course, the tyrannical emperor's heaven technique was the most helpful. The tyrannical emperor's doppelganger was originally prepared for Tranquility Emperor to cultivate the tyrannical emperor's heaven technique. After devouring Tranquility Emperor's chi of monarch, Su Fang's physique of monarch would be improved to a whole new level. He would have the supreme fate of monarch. With the help of the power of the world, the ethereal truth and the ability to control the immortal realm, he would be greatly improved. The most important purpose of killing the tyrannical emperor's doppelganger was not these. Su Fang's purpose was to draw Tranquility Emperor here and let him and immortal Emperor Tianong fight each other to the death. Then, he could take the opportunity to kill the two peerless immortal emperors and sweep across the immortal realm. Enter the Star Palace first, and then carry out the next step of the plan. After putting the immortal and devil monster and the three immortal emperors into the Zhenlong world, Su Fang went straight to the Star Palace alone. For the time being, he could not expose his full strength. Otherwise, Tranquility Emperor would be too scared to come here. If that happened, all his plans would be ruined. Swish! Su Fang, who had changed his appearance with the power of his body, appeared in the void above the Star Palace. It's the cultivator who provoked him just now. Where is Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger? Where is he? Has Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger been killed? Impossible. How powerful is Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger? A cultivator in the world immortal realm couldn't even hurt his head. The cultivators of Tranquility Emperor's mansion rose to the sky one after another. Soon, more than 100,000 people had gathered there. However, they all looked at Su Fang in surprise and doubt and did not dare to step forward. Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger has been killed. Are you going to report the death of Tranquility Emperor himself? Su Fang laughed wildly and rushed directly to the Taoist field of the Star Palace. Only then did the cultivators of Tranquility Emperor's mansion come to themselves. They roared angrily and launched attacks like waves. Get out of my way! Highly toxic rune talismans were thrown out from Su Fang's hands one after another, as if they were free leaves. Boom! 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 The highly toxic runes exploded. Poisonous gas and blood rolled out like a sea of clouds, sweeping in all directions. These highly toxic runes were created by ghouls and were extremely poisonous. Even immortal emperors would be in trouble if they touched them, not to mention the cultivators of Tranquility Emperor's mansion who were only immortal emperors. The cultivators of Tranquility Emperor's mansion, who were corroded by the poison, fell down like dumplings and were immediately defeated. Su Fang took the opportunity to rush out of the encirclement and landed on a mountain peak of the Star Palace. Then, he used the Demon Sealing Emperor's Heaven Seal to release the power of the Dissociation Formation, breaking layers of formations along the way. Under the guidance of Heaven Master Luan and other senior leaders of the Star Palace, he came to the depths of the constellation of 9 heavens, where there was an almost frozen and desolate underground palace. Meteor fragments were floating here, glittering with the brilliance of stars. This was the place where the leader of the Star Palace used to cultivate. It was also the place where the world origin of the Star Palace was located. The Star Palace was a relic, which was refined into a Taoist field by supreme magic. Inside it there was an amazing world origin. The whole Taoist field had a void passage with the heaven and earth, which allowed the power of the world from the depths of the void to come to the Taoist field. Previously, Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger of the Overlord was in charge of the Star Palace. He used the Overlord's heaven-soaring technique and the ethereal truth to merge with the world origin of the Star Palace. Therefore, he controlled the Taoist field of the Star Palace. Now that the doppelganger of the Overlord had been subdued, Su Fang was going to merge with the world origin of the Star Palace and become the real master of the Star Palace. Only by controlling the power of the world origin of the Star Palace could he have the confidence to kill Tranquility Emperor and Immortal Emperor Tianong. There were more than 100 cultivators of Tranquility Emperor's mansion guarding the Star Palace. Su Fang could kill all of them without any effort. The reason why Su Fang didn't do that and entered the underground palace was that he wanted to use himself as a bait to lure Tranquility Emperor and Immortal Emperor Tianong here. At this time, sounds of the air breaking came from outside the underground palace. Innumerable experts of Tranquility Emperor's mansion were swarming here. He activated the power of the World Seed and the Ethereal Myriad Arts Tao to communicate with the world origin of the Star Palace. Then, he activated the Demon Sealing Emperor's Heaven Seal to create layers of bounded boundaries that were connected with the world origin of the Star Palace. Boom! Boom! The cultivators of Tranquility Emperor's mansion, who were blocked outside, started to attack the bounded boundaries of the underground palace crazily. Even if Tranquility Emperor himself came here, it would take him a lot of effort to open it. Do you think you can break the bounded boundaries I created? Su Fang said disdainfully. It was because the doppelganger of Tranquility Emperor and Overlord was still alive that Su Fang couldn't merge with the world origin of the Star Palace in a short time. If he merged with the world origin and created a formation with the help of the world origin, even if Tranquility Emperor himself came here, he wouldn't be able to break it, unless he destroyed the whole Star Palace. After doing all this, Su Fang ignored the cultivators of Tranquility Emperor's mansion and made a Taoist gesture. A shadow of primordial spirit condensed from his Xian Guang. It was a lifelike figure of Immortal Emperor Tianong. It turned out that Su Fang wanted to use the primordial spirit of Immortal Emperor Tianong and use the supreme primordial spirit to get it from Immortal Emperor Tianong. When Immortal Emperor Tianong left the Heaven Law Immortal World, he left his primordial spirit to Su Fang so that they could contact each other easily. However, with Su Fang's cultivation, it would consume a lot of his primordial spirit, so he wouldn't use it easily. Young Master Tian, are you inside the Star Palace? Immortal Emperor Tianong was surprised. Su Fang said lightly, Yes, I've killed the doppelganger of Tranquility Emperor and Overlord. Tranquility Emperor himself and the elites of Tranquility Emperor's mansion will arrive in a few days. When Immortal Emperor comes to the Star Palace, I'll fulfill my promise and hand over the Star Palace to the Heaven Law Immortal World. Good, good, good. Young Master Tian, you're really powerful. You can kill Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger in such a short time. I'll lead all the elites of the Heaven Law Immortal World to the Star Palace right away. I'm not only going to take over the Star Palace, but also to kill Tranquility Emperor himself and end the 100,000 years of resentment between him and me. I hope young Master Tian can help me at that time. Of course. Immortal Emperor, you've treated me with great hospitality when I came to the Immortal Ao Macro world this time. I don't have anything to repay you, so I'll repay you with the Star Palace and Tranquility Emperor's head. Thank you, young Master Tian. Su Fang put his palms together and the primordial spirit of Immortal Emperor Tianong, which was transformed by Xian Guang, suddenly disappeared. Tranquility Emperor, Immortal Emperor Tianong, I'll be waiting for you here. Su Fang smiled domineeringly, with strong killing intent flashing in his eyes. He entered the Zhenlong world. Original body. In the Cultivation Taoist Temple, the three blood-figure doppelgangers were immersed in the state of cultivation. When they sensed the arrival of Su Fang's original body, they opened their eyes at the same time. Next, I'll devour Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger. Let's merge into one and cultivate the netherworld blood sea together. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One doppelganger cultivated the 9 changes of 9 suns, and the other one cultivated the divine life-shortening skill immediately turned into blood water and merged with the doppelganger cultivating the netherworld blood sea below. Su Fang's original body also made a gesture to display the netherworld blood sea. His physical body collapsed and turned into blood water. At the moment when he merged with the three doppelganger, the genuine chi, cultivation, and comprehension of the doppelganger were also integrated into one. In an instant, Su Fang's overall cultivation improved rapidly. This feeling was simply indescribably wondrous and beautiful. Doppelganger of Overlord, come here. The doppelganger of Overlord, who was shackled, appeared above the Netherworld Blood Sea. Netherworld Blood Sea, Su Fang, the inheritance of the Netherworld Devil Emperor really fell into your hands. The doppelganger of Overlord was shocked. Not only the inheritance of the Netherworld Devil Emperor, but also the so-called sealed land in the giant battle canyon. Now you are in the space magic treasure that I got in the giant battle canyon. The bodies of the immortal venerable and the demon venerable in the demon sealing tower all belong to me, including your most outstanding son, Crown Prince Ziwei. They also became the nutrients for my improvement. What, the space magic treasure? I hate it so much. If I had known this, I would have gone there myself. How could such a treasure and everything in it fall into your hands? Otherwise, how could you have the strength you have now? Instead of sighing for his son, he regretted that he didn't seize the peerless magic treasure. It could be seen that Tranquility Emperor was indifferent. You don't have to regret anything. It's you today. After some time, it will be your original body, Su Fang said in a domineering manner. Suddenly, a blood ribbon stretched out from the torrential blood water and wrapped around the doppelganger of Tranquility Emperor and dragged him into the blood water. I hate it so much. With a roar full of unwillingness and despair, the doppelganger of Overlord started to corrode layer by layer and melted into the blood water. In order to break through the bottleneck of cultivation, Tranquility Emperor had invested a lot of resources. The doppelganger of Overlord who had cultivated for nearly 1,000,000 years, his cultivation, the essence of his body, and the strong and pure Emperor's chi were all swallowed by Su Fang. =_our download address, mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1359. In the Xianao Big World. It was a territory deep in the Xianao Big World. There were many palaces with great momentum. An emperor's chi that was above the way of heaven shrouded the whole area. Boom! A huge palace was broken into pieces. The land within thousands of miles shook and the sky changed color. A figure flew out of the ruins and came to the sky. He looked at the direction of the Star Palace and his eyes were shining with purple golden light. Tranquility Emperor! Who dares to kill my overlord doppelganger? Tranquility Emperor roared like the wrath of heaven. The supreme Tranquility Emperor, who wouldn't frown even if the sky fell and the earth cracked, was now extremely furious. He made a gesture with his hand. A Xian Guang bloomed from his palm and condensed into a shadow of primordial spirit. It was the Celestial Emperor who guarded the Star Palace. Emperor! The Celestial Emperor of the Tranquility Emperor's mansion saluted with fear. Tranquility Emperor said with a voice full of killing intent, "The Overlord Doppelganger died. Did Long Tian-ong come to the Star Palace?" Emperor, your Overlord Doppelganger really died? The Celestial Emperor of the Tranquility Emperor's mansion was shocked. Then he panicked and replied hurriedly, "It was not immortal Emperor Tian-ong who came to the Star Palace. It was a strange young cultivator. I don't know why he went into the underground palace of the Star Palace after killing the Overlord Doppelganger. Now he is besieged and seems to be ready to take the origin of the Star Palace. How dare you? You killed my Overlord's clone and you still dare to stay in the Star Palace. Could it be that you are waiting for me? No matter who this person is, and no matter how heaven-defying his strength is, this Emperor will definitely grind his bones to dust." Tranquility Emperor said with killing intent. Then he stretched out his hand and waved at the palace below. A man in cyan broke out of the ground and flew to Tranquility Emperor. Then he was taken into his palm. Since he dares to be so arrogant, he must have something to rely on. It might even be a trap for me. However, all the tricks are useless in front of my absolute strength. Tranquility Emperor smiled disdainfully. Then he issued a strict order to the vast territory. All the immortals above the fairy immortal realm should gather in the King's City within half a year. Those who don't follow my order will be killed. Those who are late will be killed. Sizzle! The Overlord's avatar's body was extremely powerful. Even with Su Fang's Yellow Springs Blood Sea's devouring ability, it took him 10 days to corrode a layer of skin. Boom! The huge blood vortex boiled and burned with the flame of life that was more than 10 feet tall. The entire Yellow Springs Blood Sea turned into a sea of flames that burned with life. The Tranquil Emperor's tyrant true body was slightly weaker than the Great Qin's Celestial Emperor, but the essence of his body, especially his monarch Qi, was not something the Great Qin's Celestial Emperor could compare with. Moreover, this was a complete immortal emperor's body. What kind of transformation would it bring to Su Fang's strength? The flames of life burned, and the Yellow Springs Blood Sea expanded bit by bit, transforming bit by bit. A year passed in the blink of an eye. A small part of the flesh and blood of the Tyrant Emperor's clone of the Tranquility Emperor was devoured, and the Yellow Spring Blood Sea gradually expanded to nearly 8,000 feet. In the past, the Yellow Springs Blood Sea could be considered a river, but now, the surging blood water was like a roaring ocean. The strength of his fleshly body was obviously improving, and so was the true Qi in his body. Step by step, he climbed to the peak of the realm immortal fifth Tao realm. If one were to cultivate normally, it would take at least 100,000 years to reach the pinnacle of the world immortal realm from the fifth Tao realm. The Netherworld Blood Sea was so extraordinary. What was more, it had swallowed the Overlord's incarnation of Tranquility Emperor. Therefore, the speed of improvement was more than 10,000 times faster than the normal cultivation. With the help of the golden core of the Tyrant Emperor's clone, I will reach the peak of the 5 Tao realm. Su Fang threw the golden core into the yin-yang Tao wheel. The golden core shattered and was swallowed by the yin-yang Tao wheel. Another 3 months passed. Qi. Tribulation Qi burst out from the blood. Su Fang, who was in the middle of the Acheron Blood Sea, opened his mouth and sucked all the blood into his body. He condensed his body and flew out of the true dragon world to the underground palace in the depths of the Star Palace. Layers of tribulation Qi burst out of his body, turning into blazing tribulation fire that burned fiercely. A shockwave surged through Su Fang's body, causing Su Fang's body to tremble in extreme pain. More than 10 days later, the blazing tribulation fire was extinguished. A power of improvement swept through his body. When everything quieted down, Su Fang's Qi and Tao marks were all at the 6th Tao realm. The 6th Tao realm of World Immortal. With the power of the World Seed and Ethereal Enlightenment, Su Fang covered nearly 3,000 miles of the Star Palace with the power of the World Seed and Ethereal Enlightenment. He stirred up the natural aura in the void and gathered it in the depths of the underground palace. The cultivators of Tranquility Emperor's mansion, who were crazily attacking the barrier of the underground palace, felt the natural aura surging like tides. They were all shocked and showed an expression of disbelief. Could it be a supreme immortal emperor who escaped inside? He must be an immortal emperor. Otherwise, how could the incarnation of Tranquility Emperor be killed by him? How could a breakthrough cause such a great disturbance? It doesn't matter whether he is an immortal emperor or not. When Tranquility Emperor arrives in person, he will definitely die. Let's do our best. This time, Tranquility Emperor must be furious when he comes to Star Palace. Don't burn us all to ashes. At the thought of facing the anger of Tranquility Emperor, everyone was frightened. They hastened to use their magic skills or magic treasures to attack the barrier of the underground palace even more crazily. After breaking through the 6th Tao realm, Su Fang returned to the Zhenlong world and continued to devour the incarnation of the Overlord. His strength kept stepping into the 6th Tao realm. At the same time, he created 2 Blood Man incarnations to absorb the Emperor's chi from the Overlord's real body and activated the Overlord's heaven-soaring technique to cultivate the way of the Emperor. The other one cultivated the 9 changes of 9 suns to break through the 34th Yang Meridian. In the Thunder Waterfall Abyss, Su Fang merged the Thunder Fury Flame and successfully produced the 33rd Yang Meridian. When he returned to the Xianao macro world, the Thunder Fury Flame was completely merged and a new Yang Meridian was about to be born. This time, Su Fang planned to produce the 34th Yang Meridian with the help of the Overlord's real body. In the void thousands of miles away from the Star Palace, 2 figures were hiding in the vast starry sand. They seemed to have merged with the surrounding starry sand. Even immortal emperors could hardly find them. Immortal Emperor Tianong. They were Situ Jie from the Tianming Haotsong sect. Immortal Emperor Tianong had long been prepared to attack the Star Palace. So when he received the news from Su Fang, he immediately set off. He came to the Star Palace very early and had been hiding here all this time. Tianong, the constellation of 9 heavens, is so close. Why did you stop? Situ Jie asked in a gloomy voice. I've fought with the Tranquility Emperor several times and lost every time. Moreover, the Tranquility Emperor's mansion has a very deep foundation and I don't know how many heaven-defying tricks it has yet to use. This time, even with the help of Lord Situ and young Master Tian, killing the Tranquility Emperor should be a sure thing. However, the heavenly law immortal world will definitely suffer a great loss. It's better to let the mysterious and incomparably powerful young Master Tian fight until both sides are injured. Then I'll clean up the mess. Situ Jie laughed out loud. As the lord of a realm, you're indeed very scheming. Long Tianong, even I have to admire you. 3 months later, a figure broke through the air and arrived. It immediately deterred all directions and stirred up the nebula and star sand within thousands of miles around the Star Palace. The Tranquility Emperor came to the Star Palace with a towering rage. Divine light burst out from his eyes, and he swept across the constellation of 9 heavens Taoist field. Sure enough, he's still in the Star Palace and he still has the power to control the world origin of the Star Palace. Is this person arrogant or scheming? The Tranquility Emperor's eyes were filled with doubts. Then he sneered. No matter what kind of scheme you have, I'm not afraid of you. Boom. A flow of overbearing and amazing divine power replaced the will of heavenly law and covered the entire Star Palace. In an instant, the world origin of the Star Palace and the grass and trees in the Taoist field all surrendered to the Tranquility Emperor. Whoosh! The Tranquility Emperor went straight to the underground palace in the depths of the Star Palace. The moment the Tranquility Emperor appeared, Su Fang had already sensed his arrival. The Tranquility Emperor is so fast. Su Fang was secretly surprised. Then, he raised his eyebrows and his eyes shone with a cold light. Long Tianong hasn't contacted us yet. He must be planning to sit on top of the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Humph, the master of the celestial realm is indeed cunning. He made a mudra and Xian Guang bloomed in his palms. The primordial spirit of the immortal Emperor Tianong was condensed. Su Fang said in a cold voice, Immortal Emperor Tianong, the Tranquility Emperor, has come to the Star Palace. If you don't come, don't blame me for not keeping my promise. Don't blame me for turning my back on you. The immortal Emperor Tianong said hurriedly, Don't be angry, young Master Tian. I've been delayed for some time because I was gathering my men. I'm about to arrive at the constellation of 9 heavens. Rumble! The earth and mountains shook and the bounded domain outside the underground palace was broken by the Tranquility Emperor. Immortal Emperor Tianong, if you don't want to irritate me, you'd better hurry up. Su Fang said domineeringly. Then he put his palms together and the primordial spirit of the immortal Emperor Tianong was broken. The next moment, Su Fang directly entered the Zhenlong world and turned into a speck of dust, floating among the fragments of the meteor. To be on the safe side, Su Fang operated the life-shortening skill of heavenly mystery and cooperated with the power of the magic treasure in the Zhenlong world to hide the Zhenlong world. At this time, not to mention the Tranquility Emperor, even the venerable immortal couldn't sense the existence of Su Fang. The immortal Emperor Tianong, who was hiding in the star sand outside the Star Palace, hesitated for a while and said decisively, "Let's go to the Star Palace and meet my old enemy." Situ Jie said, "Why don't you wait for a while until the Tranquility Emperor and young Master Tian both get injured?" The immortal Emperor Tianong shook his head and said, "The Tranquility Emperor has gone deep into the underground palace of the Star Palace. He must have fought with the subordinates of young Master Tian. If I don't show up now, I'm afraid I'll really irritate young Master Tian. If he takes revenge later, it will be very troublesome. It's better to join hands with him and kill the Tranquility Emperor." Situ Jie said with a smile, "Maybe the Tranquility Emperor has already been killed by young Master Tian when you and I arrive. That'll be the best." The immortal Emperor Tianong burst into laughter. Whoosh! The immortal Emperor Tianong and Situ Jie broke through the void and flew away. 4 powerful immortal emperors like them, thousands of miles of void was just a snap of their fingers. At this time, the Tranquility Emperor had already rushed into the underground palace. His sensing power had swept through every corner of the underground palace. Gone? That man's aura disappeared in an instant. The Tranquility Emperor was shocked and surprised that he couldn't sense the existence of Su Fang. He suddenly thought of the strange thing that happened to the Overlord's avatar in the Star Palace last time. The Tranquility Emperor suddenly understood. It's that evil cultivator. He must have a peerless Taoist treasure that can hide his body. Even I can't sense his existence. Demons, I'm absolutely irreconcilable with you. The heavenly law immortal realm secretly colluded with the demons. This time, the Overlord's avatar was killed by Long Tianong. Long Tianong, I didn't kill you because you're from the Tianming Haotsong sect. Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? The Tranquility Emperor's killing intent towards the demons and immortal Emperor Tianong was overwhelming when he thought of the Ziwei Crown Prince. Long Tianong, you really came. When the Tranquility Emperor was about to search for the whereabouts of Su Fang, he suddenly raised his eyebrows and released a strong killing intent. =_our download address, mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1360. Tianong Immortal Emperor rushed to the sky above the constellation of 9 heavens, but he didn't see the earth-shattering battle that he had expected. Tablet ebook, how could this be? Tianong Immortal Emperor and Situ Jie were both stunned. Could it be that young Master Tian had defeated Tranquility Emperor in such a short time? Whoosh! A stream of heaven-shaking aggressiveness exploded from the Star Palace, and then a figure rushed up to the sky. Tranquility Emperor. Tianong Immortal Emperor was shocked. Tranquility Emperor didn't look like he had just experienced a fierce battle. Long Tianong, a furious roar reverberated in all directions, stirring up the starry sand and starry fog as if a storm had erupted. Tranquility Emperor's eyes emitted purple golden light, and he looked at Tianong Immortal Emperor like a sharp sword. Your doppelganger killed my son Ziwei, and this time you killed my doppelganger. I'll kill you. Tianong Immortal Emperor said coldly, no one can prove whether Prince Ziwei was killed by my doppelganger. And it was someone else who killed your doppelganger. If you want to fight, let's fight. Why do you have to find such a groundless reason? Tranquility Emperor was furious. Everyone in the immortal area knows that you colluded with the Devil Tribe. The one who killed my doppelganger was the Devil Cultivator who snuck into the Star Palace and hurt my doppelganger's arm. Now you're in the Star Palace. How dare you say that you have nothing to do with it? Humph! Tianong Immortal Emperor was angry and wronged, but he couldn't explain anything to his old enemy, Tranquility Emperor. Tranquility Emperor glanced at Situ Jie and said coldly, Are you Lord Situ from the Heaven's Mandate Houtsong sect? Long Tian, Ong and I can't live under the same sky. I advise you not to interfere. Situ Jie said gloomily. Long Tian Ong is from the Heaven's Mandate Houtsong sect. Why can't I interfere? Tranquility Emperor, I advise you not to offend the Heaven's Mandate Houtsong sect. Otherwise, Tranquility Emperor said aggressively. Otherwise what? The Heaven's Mandate Houtsong sect is the most powerful force in the immortal area. Although I'm famous in the immortal area, I'm like an ant in front of the Mandate Houtsong sect. However, the Heavenly Mandate Houtsong sect wants my head. Am I supposed to stretch out my neck and wait for you to take it? Situ Jie, if you dare to stop me from killing Long Tian Ong, don't blame me for being impolite. You're welcome? Do I need to be courteous to you? Situ Jie came from the Tianming Haitsong sect, so he was very arrogant. Hearing Ning Emperor's words, he was enraged. He immediately used his magic skills, and a stream of divine might of heaven rushed towards Ning Emperor. Boom! Boom! Tranquility Emperor also operated the tyrannical Emperor's heaven-soaring technique and started a shocking fight with Situ Jie. It seems that I failed to trick young Master Tian this time. Instead, I was set up by him. Damn it! Even if I don't use young Master Tian's strength, I can still kill Tranquility Emperor. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was very angry. He released his momentum and joined hands with Situ Jie to attack Tranquility Emperor fiercely. All of a sudden, there was an unprecedented battle happening above the Star Palace, which was rarely seen in the immortal realm for millions of years. The rumbling sound shook the sky and the void was shaking. Tranquility Emperor was indeed a peerless immortal emperor who had reached the immortal emperor realm millions of years ago. With the help of the world force of the Star Palace, he was able to suppress immortal Emperor Tian Ong and Situ Jie. In the Taoist field of the Star Palace, the cultivators of the Tranquility Emperor's mansion were shocked. However, they couldn't do anything about it. All they could do was to cheer for Tranquility Emperor. The famous Tranquility Emperor is really powerful. He's much more powerful than his tyrannical emperor's doppelganger. Is this the real strength of a peerless immortal emperor? Su Fang activated his full circle ability and saw the battle above the Star Palace clearly through the divine might of the Zhenlong world. He couldn't help but feel shocked. Luo said from the blood jade in his body, Tranquility Emperor is really powerful. However, he has just reached the 7 Dao Saint Immortal Realm. He's not a real peerless expert. Saint Immortal Realm? I didn't tell you about the realm of Immortal Emperor because I was afraid that you would be afraid of the path of cultivation and that would affect your Dao heart. Now that you're as powerful as an Immortal Emperor, I can tell you about it. The Saint Immortal Realm is above the World Immortal Realm, which is the so-called Immortal Emperor. Immortals in this realm can build their own space in the void, control this space and create the Dharma. It was the first time for Su Fang to hear about the realm of Immortal Emperor. He immediately pricked up his ears. Most of the Immortal Emperors you've seen are below the 3 Dao Saint Immortal Realm. Tranquility Emperor's doppelganger of the tyrannical emperor is at the 2 Dao Saint Immortal Realm. Immortal Emperor Deqin, Immortal Tianong, Old Weirdo Zhu Tian and Immortal Penghua are at the 3 Dao Saint Immortal Realm. With your current strength, even if you can't defeat them, you can at least protect yourself. Su Fang asked curiously, which Dao Saint Immortal Realm are Immortal Emperor Tian Ong and Tranquility Emperor at? Immortal Emperor Tian Ong and Dugumujian are at the 6 Dao Saint Immortal Realm. Your immortal demon monster is also at the same level. Tranquility Emperor just reached the 7 Dao Saint Realm. But Immortal Emperor Tian Ong has the Heaven's Mandate Houtsong sect as his backer. Tranquility Emperor has been an immortal emperor for millions of years. Both of them are not ordinary immortal emperors. But they're not as strong as Dugumujian and his immortal demon monster. Dugu Mujien is a sword cultivator who has fused with the dual swords of destruction, one of the 10 great Taoist weapons. Even Tranquility Emperor is no match for him. Your immortal demon monster has a strong body and a special power that combines the power of immortal and demon. With the help of the second primordial spirit, it's on par with Dugu Mujien. What's more, it has a lot of room for growth. It's beyond imagination. So powerful. Su Fang was very happy to hear that Dugu Mujien and his immortal demon monster were so powerful. But in the whole immortal realm, Tranquility Emperor and Dugu Mujien are not the real peerless expert. Experts at the 9 Dao Saint immortal realm can use their supreme skills to create a cave mansion or a world in this space. Only then can they be regarded as the peerless experts in this immortal realm. At least in this immortal realm, Tranquility Emperor is already a peak expert. This time, it won't be easy for Long Tianong to kill him. But it's better this way. It's better if both of them are injured and I can take advantage of the situation. Su Fang smiled. You're so insidious. But fortunately, you didn't attack directly. Whether it's Immortal Emperor Tianong or Tranquility Emperor, they have some forbidden skills or peerless skills that you can't imagine. Even if you kill them, you'll lose a few teeth. Let them fight to the death. I'll take control of the Star Palace first. Su Fang flew out of the Zhenlong world. While paying attention to the shocking battle outside the Star Palace, he started to integrate the world origin of the Star Palace. He activated the power of the world seed and used the ethereal innate runes of 10,000 arts to slowly sense and communicate with the world origin of the constellation of 9 heavens. Rumble. The world origin of the constellation of 9 heavens was awakened from its static state by Su Fang, causing the earth to shake. Someone is absorbing the world origin of the Star Palace. Many cultivators in the Tranquility Emperor's mansion, as well as Tranquility Emperor, Immortal Emperor Tianong, and Situ Jie in the sky, felt the change of the world origin of the Star Palace and were all shocked. Tranquility Emperor sneered disdainfully. My real body of the Overlord has performed the supreme divine skill of the Overlord soaring the sky technique and swallowed the star genuine chi of countless practitioners of the Star Palace. Then, I comprehended part of the divine skill of the ethereal truth. It took me nearly 200 years to integrate a small part of the world origin of the Star Palace. It's impossible for you to integrate it in 1,000,000 years. I only need a few days to kill Long Tianong, and then I'll come back to crush you into ashes. Young Master Tian, what do you mean? Immortal Emperor Tianong sensed the aura of Su Fang in the depth of the Star Palace and immediately asked with his primordial spirit. Su Fang replied, Tranquility Emperor is extremely powerful. His overlord doppelganger once integrated with the world origin of the Star Palace. Therefore, his real body can drive the world origin. After I control the world origin of the Star Palace with my supreme magic skills, I'll help you kill Tranquility Emperor with the help of the world origin. Integrate with the world origin of the Star Palace? Immortal Emperor Tianong was stunned and then secretly complained. Without hundreds of thousands of years, how could it be so easy to integrate the world origin of an immortal land? Although the Star Palace was not as good as those macro worlds, it was still a relic. How could the world origin be integrated so easily? Clearly, young Master Tian was taking revenge because he was angry at him for playing tricks in front of him. Immortal Emperor Tianong said earnestly with his primordial spirit, I shouldn't have played tricks in front of young Master Tian. I'll apologize to you later. At this critical moment, please don't hold grudges and help me kill Tranquility Emperor. Humph. Su Fang let out a humph laugh. He was not arrogant at all. Then he said coldly, Immortal Emperor Tianong, you still have so much strength. How long do you plan to hide it? You have to hold on for 3 days. It's a small punishment for you. As long as you can hold on for 3 days, I promise to help you. Then, I'll trust you this time. Immortal Emperor Tian had no choice but to release experts from the Taoist instrument world. Swish, swish. The hidden strength of the heavenly Tao immortal world was really powerful. Long Tian, are you going to risk your life to fight with me? You have experts in the heavenly Tao immortal world, but I don't have any in the Tranquility Emperor's mansion. Tranquility Emperor laughed disdainfully. Whoosh. 3 immortal emperors were released by Tranquility Emperor. Although the number was not as many as that of the heavenly Tao immortal world, there was one immortal emperor in the 5 Tao Saint realm who had the origin of Tranquility Emperor's mansion. Obviously, he came from the mansion of Tranquility Emperor. The foundation of Emperor Ning's mansion was so profound that it was beyond imagination. It was even more profound than the heavenly Tao immortal world. For my son, Ziwei, and for my overlord doppelganger, I'll flatten the heavenly Tao immortal world. Kill. Emperor Ning was full of murderous intent. He gave orders to his subordinates that were full of killing intent. The battle suddenly escalated. I'm the overlord doppelganger. I want Long Tianong to die. I want him to die in the name of the Supreme Divine Dragon, with the will of the Divine Dragon. I, Long Tianong, will deprive Emperor Ning of all his super skills. Immortal Emperor Tianong and Emperor Ning performed their unique super skills and started a shocking collision. The immortal emperors of the heavenly Tao immortal world and Emperor Ning's mansion also used their strongest super skills and activated their Taoist instruments to fight and kill. At this point, it was a real fight to the death. There was no need for them to restrain themselves. They used all their strength and started a life-and-death battle. The void was broken. The sky was shaking. If the Taoist field of the Star Palace was not protected by a strong bounded domain, it would have been razed to the ground in an instant. In the deep underground palace of the Star Palace, Su Fang was calmly integrating the world origin of the Star Palace. The cultivators of Emperor Ning's mansion rushed to the underground palace again. However, Su Fang released old monster Zhu Tian to guard the entrance of the underground palace. The cultivators of Emperor Ning's mansion had to give up the idea. Su Fang activated the power of the World Seed. With the help of the ethereal myriad arts Tao, he awakened the world origin of the Star Palace. Streaks of starlight came out from the underground palace. The starlight, which was the essence of the world force, condensed into a deep and magnificent Milky Way. The World Seed started to absorb the world origin of the Star Palace. It spun faster. The lotus pod containing the seed became more real. The World Seed in the lotus pod became fuller. =_our download address, mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1361. Around the World Seed, there was a mysterious circle of light. There were a total of 7 light circles like 7 galaxies. The entire heaven and earth Tao Palace became vast and deep, filled with the divine might of the world. After devouring a part of the world origin of the Star Palace, Su Fang merged it with his own world energy, and then sealed the world origin under the Earth Palace. The whole process only took Su Fang 2 days. Compared to merging the world origin of the Great Qin celestial world, it was much faster and easier. After releasing the divine might of the world, he felt that he could easily control the Star Palace. The world energy of the Star Palace, as well as all the forces of nature, had a subtle affinity with Su Fang. He could use the essence of heaven and earth and the power of the stars with ease and control. From now on, the Star Palace is under the control of Su Fang. Su Fang's eyes flashed with excitement. When he first entered the constellation of 9 heavens, his status was low, and he was always in fear. He was bullied and even his life was in danger. In less than 1,000 years, he had become the absolute master of the Star Palace. How could Su Fang not be excited by such an achievement? It's really lively outside. Using the power of the complete realm, Su Fang could see the scene outside the constellation of 9 heavens clearly. He could not help but smile coldly. You haven't suffered any serious injuries yet. Let me add fuel to the fire. When one's cultivation had reached the holy celestial realm, it was easy to be defeated. However, it was very difficult to be killed. Although the great battle in the void outside the Star Palace lasted for 2 days, there were no celestial emperor experts who died. Su Fang had finally ignited the flames of war. How could he let the two sides fight so calmly? He activated the divine might of the world and formed a shackle force, which suddenly fell on a celestial emperor from the Yuan Fortune world. The Yuan Fortune world was now under the control of Tranquility Emperor. This celestial emperor was the realm lord of the Yuan Fortune world, a peerless expert of the 3 paths of Saint Celestial Realm. He had become Tranquility Emperor's subordinate and was fighting fiercely with the sect master of the White Sun sect. He used to be the lord of a celestial realm after all, and his aura had suppressed the sect master of the White Sun sect to the point that he was forced to retreat. Just as this person was feeling smug and arrogant, an invisible world's divine might suddenly enveloped his body, forming a shackle. What was even more shocking was that it was as if the heavens and earth were naturally rejecting him. Borrowing power from the stars, extracting essence from the heavens and earth, activating the divine ability of the heavens and earth, its power was instantly weakened by as much as 30 to 40%. What's going on? Why am I being rejected and shackled by the power of the world? The immortal emperor of the Yuan Fortune world's expression changed drastically. As for the sect master of the heavenly White Sun sect, after his initial shock, he was overjoyed. Naturally, he would not miss such a heaven-sent opportunity. His aura exploded as he launched a fierce counterattack. The situation was instantly reversed. Half an hour later, the former master of the Yuanlu Great World was inexplicably shackled and suppressed, causing his strength to drop drastically. He was crushed by the heavenly Tao White Sun sect's sect master, who seemed to have the help of a god. The fall of the first immortal emperor had shocked everyone. The morale of the heavenly Tao immortal realm was greatly boosted. Even immortal Emperor Tianong was ecstatic and his aura surged. Long Tianong, you killed the experts of the Emperor Ning's mansion. I will not rest until you are dead. Emperor Ning roared angrily. This time, he was really angry. Seeing the bloody battlefield, the situation immediately became tragic. Su Fang secretly activated the power of the world of the Star Palace and targeted Immortal Emperor, he from the Long family of the Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm. In a battle between experts, a slight mistake would determine the outcome of the battle, even life and death. Moreover, Su Fang suddenly made such a move at the critical moment, which caught everyone off guard. Immortal Emperor He's body was shattered by the Taoist instrument of the Emperor Ning's mansion, and he died on the spot. Now, it was Immortal Emperor Tianong's turn to feel heartache, and he roared angrily. In this way, Su Fang killed a total of 4 immortal emperors from both sides without leaving a trace. Situ Jie took the opportunity to seriously injure the immortal emperor of the Emperor Ning's mansion, who was at the 5 Tao Holy Realm, and almost died. Long Tianong, now that things have come to this point, you and I don't need to hide our strength anymore. Let's have a life and death battle now. Emperor Ning's mansion suffered a great loss this time, so he did not hold back anymore. Immediately, he released many cultivators from the Taoist instrument world in his body. In a flash, they filled the void within 100 miles. There were more than 200,000 of them, and all of them were at the Xian Immortal Realm. Now, Emperor Ning actually took out all the elites of the Emperor Ning's mansion for the last battle. Among them, 5,000 cultivators were at the Immortal Realm in the Mortal Realm. They were wearing black immortal armor, and their aura was extremely domineering and murderous. They formed a formation, and their aura was as strong as one person. Their domineering aura shook the sky. They were the elite troops of the Emperor Ning's mansion. The heaven-fighting army of the Overlord. There was also an army. Their numbers weren't large either, only a little over 10,000. There were both human cultivators and great demons. All of them were covered in a monstrous aura of death and evil, as well as an aura from ancient times. They were all resurrected immortals, and each of them was no weaker than the young elder. They did not expect that Emperor Ning had hidden such a horrible army of resurrected cultivators. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong hurriedly sent a voice of original spirit to Su Fang. Young Master Tian, Emperor Ning has prepared for the final battle. If you don't help him now, the heavenly law immortal realm will definitely be defeated. Su Fang replied coldly, I will help him one day later. If he can't even survive one day, what right does the heavenly law immortal realm have to ask me to help him? The life and death of the heavenly law immortal realm all depends on you, young Master Tian. Please don't let me down. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong gritted his teeth. He waved his hand, and a disc-shaped Taoist instrument appeared in his palm. The disc-shaped Xian Guang bloomed, and millions of figures came out from it. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong also brought the elites of the heavenly law immortal realm with him. Among them, there was a group of 500 cultivators. However, all of them were covered in golden scales that resembled dragon scales. They exuded a terrifying draconic chi, and when the 500 of them stood together, they formed the illusory image of a 20,000 feet long golden dragon. The terrifying aura they exuded caused the immortal emperors to feel their hearts trembling. They were the personal guards of immortal Emperor Tian Ong, the Dragon Blood Warriors. There was also an army of 100,000 cultivators. They were full of strong devil chi. They did not look like human beings, but the real devil clan from the devil realm. Seeing this, Su Fang was shocked and surprised. Then he sneered, Emperor Ning's mansion and the heavenly law immortal realm, one side colludes with the resurrected cultivators, and the other side colludes with the devil realm. Is this the so-called righteousness? Luo Ye's cold voice came from the blood jade in his body. It seems that this immortal realm has been infiltrated by the devil realm for a long time. Even the resurrected cultivators from ancient times have come to this immortal realm and seem to have consciousness. It's ridiculous that the Emperor Ning's mansion and the heavenly law immortal realm think that they can use the devil realm and the resurrected cultivators. But they don't know that it's tantamount to raising a tiger and inviting calamity. Sooner or later, they will be swallowed up and all the human cultivators in the immortal realm will be affected. They really deserve to die. Emperor Ning, the 100,000 years of resentment between you and me will be completely solved in this battle. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong raised his arm and shouted, Kill! The army of 1,000,000 cultivators roared in unison. The killing intent made the sky change color. Then they rushed to the Emperor Ning's mansion like a tide. Swish! Innumerable arrows converged into a black cloud. The ear-piercing sound of breaking through the air was heard, but the eardrums were shattered, and even the primordial spirit was on the verge of collapse. Then came the attack of flying swords and Taoist instruments, which formed a stormy wave that drowned and swallowed everything in front of them. The 500 dragon blood warriors were even more amazing. They drove the huge shadow of the golden dragon and rushed out like a monster that could swallow the sky and even the immortal emperors. No matter how many people you have, you are just a group of ants. How can you fight against the towering tree of my Emperor Ning's mansion? Kill! Emperor Ning said in a domineering manner. Although the army of Emperor Ning's mansion was smaller in number, they were obviously more well-trained. They quickly formed a formation to defend against the fierce attack of the Heaven Law immortal realm. Then they formed a formation again, and stabbed into the army of the Heaven Law immortal realm like sharp swords. More than 100,000 cultivators of Emperor Ning's mansion, who were guarding the Star Palace, also rushed out of the Taoist field. However, their fighting capacity was obviously much weaker. The battle started above the Star Palace. Although it was not as fierce as the fight between the immortal emperors, it was more than 100 times more bloody and tragic. The blood of the dead cultivators dyed the surrounding void red. Corpses piled up outside the boundary of the Star Palace. When an emperor was angry, blood would stain 1,000 miles. Countless people died in the battle between immortal Emperor Tian Ong and Emperor Ning. The peerless experts who were usually superior were as worthless as ants and weeds in such a horrible battlefield. One day passed in the blink of an eye. Both the Emperor Ning's mansion and the Heaven Law Immortal Realm lost more than half of their forces. Although the immortal emperors did not die, they were all injured. Even immortal Emperor Tianong, Situjia, and Emperor Ning were seriously injured. Immortal Emperor Tianong had turned into a dragon man. Countless dragon scales fell off. A bowl-sized hole was corroded in his chest by Emperor Ning's mantra of the tyrant. Although immortal Emperor Tianong's dragonman body had amazing recovery ability, he could not recover in a short time. Although it was not a fatal injury, it was still serious. Although Emperor Ning was not injured, his face was pale and his breath of life was weak. He was also seriously injured by immortal Emperor Tianong's unique curse of the divine dragon. On the contrary, Situjia would definitely not die for immortal Emperor Tianong. Because Emperor Ning was afraid of his identity, he did not kill him. Therefore, Situjia was the most relaxed one on the battlefield. As for the two armies, they suffered more losses. The Heaven Law Immortal Realm and Emperor Ning's mansion suffered great losses in this battle. Such a situation naturally couldn't be attributed to Su Fang adding fuel to the fire. Young Master Tian, the time is up. Why don't you take action? Immortal Emperor Tianong, who was exhausted, roared angrily. My words are as white as soap. Since I've promised Immortal Emperor to take action, I won't stand by and do nothing. A majestic voice sounded from the depth of the Star Palace. Just then, Su Fang, wearing a golden mask, walked through the formation unhurriedly and came to the sky above the Star Palace. Standing with his hands clasped behind his back, he glanced over the battlefield indifferently. The supreme domineering aura of looking down on everything spontaneously arose. Finally, golden-faced young master is going to take action. People of the Heaven Law Immortal Realm burst into cheers. Immortal Emperor Tianong breathed a long sigh of relief. He waved his arm and summoned all the cultivators of the Heaven Law Immortal Realm to his side. Su Fang's eyes shone with divine light. He glanced at the cultivators of the Heaven Law Immortal Realm and sighed, Immortal Emperor, the Heaven Law Immortal Realm has suffered great losses. Thank you for your concern. Immortal Emperor Tianong's face twitched. He gritted his teeth and a strong hatred surged from his heart. However, he had to be polite on the surface. After a day of fierce fighting, there were only 400,000 cultivators left. Even more than half of the dragon blood warriors were killed. Immortal Emperor Tianong's heart was bleeding. Even if Emperor Ning was successfully killed this time, the Heaven Law Immortal Realm would suffer great losses. Damn you, young Master Tian! When I clean up Emperor Ning's mansion and the peerless powerhouses of Tianming Haotsong sect come, the first person I'll kill will be you. Immortal Emperor Tianong's heart was full of killing intent. =_our download address, mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1362. Golden-faced young master? You are the famous golden-faced young master in this immortal realm? Why don't you have any devil chi? Tranquility Emperor asked with confusion. Tablet ebook, yes, it's me. I'm from the Fangtsuan Mountain. Why do I have devil chi? Su Fang said indifferently. No matter how you disguise yourself, you won't be able to escape the eyes of this emperor. A devil cultivator actually dares to openly swindle people in this immortal realm. Since you dared to kill this emperor's clone, this emperor will make you suffer a fate worse than death. Capture him alive. I want to pull out his tendons and skin him alive. Boom! The remaining 100,000 cultivators from Emperor Ning's mansion formed a formation and rushed toward Su Fang. The Heaven Fighting Army and the resurrected cultivators were aiming at Su Fang. You can't be so arrogant in my territory. Su Fang raised his hand and waved it gently. As if the will of heaven and earth came, a stream of divine might burst out from Su Fang and formed an amazing shackle, covering the cultivators of Emperor Ning's mansion. All of a sudden, the cultivators of Emperor Ning's mansion slowed down and found it difficult to move. They were like an arrow shooting into a ball of cotton. Their overwhelming momentum was suppressed to the extreme. How amazing was the divine might that a single person could shackle nearly 100,000 elites of Emperor Ning's mansion. Su Fang's figure, which was not very tall, suddenly became as majestic as a mountain, as if he was the incarnation of the will of heaven. How is this possible? Not only the people of Emperor Ning's mansion, but also those from the heavenly law immortal realm were shocked and looked at Su Fang in disbelief. Tranquility Emperor exclaimed, You have integrated the world origin of the constellation of 9 heavens? Impossible, how is this possible? My overlord doppelganger has spent close to 200 years devouring countless cultivators of the Star Palace and cultivating the overlord emperor's towering heaven technique and the ethereal enlightenment divine ability. Yet, it still hasn't merged to such an extent. How is it possible for an underworld immortal realm demon Tao cultivator like you to do it? Swoosh! Waves of exclamations gathered together and spread in all directions like a tsunami. It was amazing! In just 3 days, he had integrated the world origin of Star Palace. It was unbelievable! Roar! The cultivators of Emperor Tranquility's mansion roared in unison. They condensed their momentum and broke the shackles of Su Fang layer by layer. Su Fang made a hand seal to activate the world's divine might, and together with the ethereal primordial realm's Tao of illusion and reality, the natural power of the world instantly formed a majestic pressure and shackle. Puff, puff. The momentum of the 100,000 cultivators of the Emperor Ning's mansion was shattered. Those who were slightly weaker all spat out blood at the same time and couldn't fly anymore. They fell down like dumplings. A single hand shook the heavens and shook the world. What are you waiting for? Let's destroy Emperor Ning's mansion. Tian Ong Immortal Emperor was overjoyed and ordered the cultivators of the heavenly law immortal realm. Then, he sent a voice to Su Fang with his primordial spirit, Young Master Tian, please release your subordinates and kill Tranquility Emperor. Su Fang replied calmly, Your Excellency, please don't be impatient. If I expose my strength too early, I will scare Tranquility Emperor away. Your Excellency, please hold Tranquility Emperor for the time being. I will activate the world's divine might to help you. When Tranquility Emperor is exhausted, I will release my subordinates to kill him. As you said. Although Tian Ong Immortal Emperor was dissatisfied with Su Fang's decision, there was nothing he could do to Su Fang. He had to listen to Su Fang's arrangement. With the help of Su Fang's divine might, the cultivators of Emperor Ning's mansion were defeated and killed one after another. However, these cultivators were the elites of Emperor Ning's mansion. Although they were at a disadvantage, they still didn't retreat, which caused great damage to the cultivators of the heavenly law immortal realm. At the same time, Su Fang kept suppressing Tranquility Emperor with the help of the world's divine might and ethereal enlightenment. Even though Tranquility Emperor was powerful, he was also in a hurry and was forced to retreat under the joint attack of Situ Jie and Tian Ong Immortal Emperor. Damn demonic cultivator, if I don't kill you today, then I'm not human. Tranquility Emperor gnashed his teeth. In the next second, boom! A man in cyan appeared in front of Tranquility Emperor. He burst out an amazing aura with the ancient chi, which shattered the shackles of the world's divine might. This man looked dry and expressionless. His hair was sparse and his eyes were hollow. His body was as light as a feather, just like a scarecrow. No breath of life could be sensed from him. He was a corpse. However, the aura of this corpse was far more powerful than that of Tranquility Emperor. Even Su Fang's divine might couldn't restrain him. What kind of monster is this? His aura is in the Saint Immortal realm. Tian-ong Immortal Emperor and Situ Jie gasped at the same time. They stepped back hurriedly, but it was too late. The corpse took a step forward and appeared in front of Situ Jie in an instant. Bang! Situ Jie activated his divine might and hit the corpse. Even Tranquility Emperor couldn't bear the horrible attack, but it only made the corpse's clothes flutter. Situ Jie hurriedly activated the divine might of the realm to form a defense. The corpse stretched out a finger, which burst out an evil and amazing breath of death. It broke Situ Jie's defense and pointed between his eyebrows. Puff! A hole appeared between Situ Jie's eyebrows. His breath of life, cultivation, and genuine qi were all absorbed by the corpse. Tian-ong Immortal Emperor was scared out of his wit. He burned his dragon qi and moved 10 miles away in an instant. The corpse stretched out his finger again and pointed at Situ Jie. Puff! The dragon scale on Tian-ong Immortal Emperor's chest was broken and a fist-sized wound appeared. A breath of death quickly spread to the surroundings. Tian-ong Immortal Emperor hurriedly activated his dragon qi to resist the corrosion of the breath of death. The wound kept healing, but it was destroyed by the breath of death. Long Tian-ong, you have the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect to back you up. Do you think I don't? I obtained this corpse refinement puppet from the ancient battlefield of immortals and devils. I used all kinds of spiritual items to repair it. I searched the celestial realm and found a peak supreme-grade celestial stone, allowing it to possess the strength of a 9th Tao Saint Celestial. With such a trump card, who in this immortal realm can defeat me? Tranquility Emperor laughed out loud complacently. Eh? Tranquility Emperor, you have such a powerful corpse-refining puppet. Luo exclaimed from the blood jade in his body. This corpse is a corpse-refining puppet, not a resurrected cultivator? Su Fang was also shocked and asked hurriedly. He had been studying how to combine the immortal blood spirit and the resurrected cultivator to refine a corpse-refining puppet. Although he had made a lot of progress, the success rate was too low to be of any use. He didn't expect Tranquility Emperor to release such a powerful corpse-refining puppet. Luo sighed and said, "It's a corpse-refining puppet from the ancient evil sect, corpse-refining sect, not a resurrected cultivator. It's amazing that Tranquility Emperor can control a corpse-refining puppet of the Saint Immortal Realm." Saint Immortal Realm? Doesn't that make him invincible? Su Fang felt a chill in his back. Invincible? Not really. First of all, corpse-refining puppet needs energy. The power of a corpse-refining puppet of the Saint Immortal Realm can't be produced by the immortal stone in the macro world. It must come from the infinite worlds at the end of the world. In addition, corpse-refining puppet is an evil existence that goes against the will of heaven. Your thunder punishment power and 9 suns, immortal fire can restrain it. But you still have to be careful. It's not easy to deal with a Saint Immortal Realm cultivator. Roar. While Su Fang was talking with Luo, the corpse-refining puppet suddenly let out an evil and violent roar. A gust of death qi shrouded the void in all directions. In an instant, the whole world seemed to have turned into a world of death. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth was replaced by the death qi. All the laws of heaven were also replaced by the laws of death. In the Taoist field of the Star Palace, the forest in the field withered rapidly. All the lives were withering. Including the cultivators of the Tranquility Emperor's mansion, everyone's breath of life and genuine qi were fading rapidly in the death domain. On the contrary, the resurrected cultivators were not eroded by the power of death. On the contrary, the death qi on them became stronger. What a horrifying corpse-refining puppet! Tranquility Emperor's eyes shone with divine light. He fixed his gaze on Su Fang and ordered the corpse-refining puppet, "Kill him!" Whoosh! The corpse-refining puppet took a step and was more than 300 meters away from Su Fang. "You want to kill me with a corpse?" Su Fang sneered disdainfully. He activated the world origin of the Star Palace with all his strength and performed the ethereal realm's divine sense of the ethereal realm. He formed a divine sense of the world that was close to the real world and kept pressuring the corpse refining puppet. Boom, boom, boom. The corpse refining puppet stepped forward step by step. Its speed was not as strange as before. However, the divine sense of the world of Su Fong was shattered layer by layer. Boom. A fire elemental divine might suddenly erupted. Together with the ethereal primordial realm, it caused Su Fong's surroundings to rapidly turn into a blazing sea of flames. The shockingly high temperature of the flames caused the void to distort. The corpse refining puppet condensed a death defense to block the overbearing and horrifying divine sense of fire of 9 suns. Although the death defense did not cause any harm to the corpse refining puppet, it slowed down its movement. What kind of flame is this? How can it threaten a corpse refining puppet in the 9 Dao realm of Saint Immortal? Not only Immortal Emperor Tianong, but also Tranquility Emperor was shocked. How can a devil tribe cultivator control such a horrifying extreme yang flame? This man has a mysterious background and is unbelievably powerful. He must be killed. Tranquility Emperor performed a seal art. Then, the corpse refining puppet's heart suddenly lit up. A fist-sized immortal stone was inlaid there and connected to the corpse refining puppet's body with immortal mark. The corpse refining puppet's aura suddenly doubled. It activated the divine sense of death and broke Su Fong's divine sense of fire of 9 suns. Then, it took one step forward and rushed toward Su Fong. It was not that the 9 suns' immortal fire was not powerful enough. It was just that the gap between Su Fong and the corpse refining puppet was too big. Su Fong turned his palm and a broken cauldron appeared in his hand. A divine sense of thunder with the divine sense of thunder punishment suddenly burst out. The cauldron of thunder punishment, Law suddenly reminded, attack the corpse refining puppet's heart. That's its most vulnerable part. Crack! With a thunderous sound, it was as if the heaven was angry and the thunder punishment came down. Pale purple gold thunderbolts rushed out from the mouth of the cauldron and bombarded the corpse refining puppet's heart. The corpse refining puppet's body was covered by the monstrous thunderbolts. The amazing force of thunder punishment had seriously injured its body, which was comparable to a peak Taoist artifact. The immortal marks around the immortal stone inlaid in the corpse refining puppet's heart were broken. The corpse refinement puppet shook and returned to its original state. The cauldron of thunder punishment. How can you have such a peerless Taoist artifact? Tranquility Emperor exclaimed and rushed toward Su Fong. Kill! Dugumujian was released by Su Fong. It released a sharp sword chi with a horrible chi that could destroy everything. Dual Swords of Destruction. Ah! It's the Dual Swords of Destruction. How can the Dual Swords of Destruction of Yen Xin fall into your hands? Tranquility Emperor's eyes were full of shock. He flashed and disappeared into the void. In the hands of Dugumujian, a peerless sword practitioner, the Dual Swords of Destruction burst out the divine sense of 10 great Taoist artifacts. A sword chi of destruction rolled out and broke the void. Tranquility Emperor staggered and rolled out of the void. =R download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 1363. Tranquility Emperor was wounded by Dugumujian's Dual Swords of Destruction. Tablet ebook. There was a sword wound from his right shoulder to his abdomen, which almost cut his stomach open. This sword not only hurt his body, but also the sword intent of destruction had penetrated into his body, severely injuring his internal organs and meridians. Tranquility Emperor, the supreme master of this immortal realm, was severely wounded. In terms of cultivation, Tranquility Emperor was one level higher than Dugumujian, so it was impossible for him to be hurt. However, Dugumujian was a sword cultivator, who was almost invincible among the immortal emperors at the same level. What's more, Tranquility Emperor had consumed a lot of his strength in the fight with Long Tian. All of a sudden, everyone was dumbfounded, and their eyes were full of disbelief. Su Fang and Yen Xinxian had a life-and-death duel in the King City of the Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm. Every cultivator in the Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm knew him. Su Fang had many conflicts with Emperor Ning's mansion and killed many of their experts. Therefore, his appearance had long been known. Therefore, the cultivators of Emperor Ning's mansion were familiar with his face. Su Fang. Young Master Tian is Su Fang. Wasn't he killed by Yen Xinxian? Hundreds of thousands of cultivators exclaimed at the same time. Young Master Tian. Su Fang. They were the same person. I see. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong and Tranquility Emperor were enlightened. What else could they not understand? Everything in the giant battle canyon, including the experts of the 8 forces, had fallen into the hands of Su Fang. The so-called victory of Yen Xinxian in the duel in the King City of the Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm was just a scam. What was ridiculous was that the 2 immortal emperors had a great battle for Su Fang's corpse. I'm so pissed off, puff! Immortal Emperor Tian Ong roared angrily and spat out a mouthful of blood. They treated Su Fang as a guest of honor and waited on him politely. They even expected him to help them kill Tranquility Emperor. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was fooled like a monkey. He and Tranquility Emperor's mansion both suffered great losses. How could he not be angry? Tranquility Emperor was also furious and spat out blood again. Looking at Long Tian Ong, Tranquility Emperor yelled, I have dominated this immortal land for millions of years. How can I swallow this humiliation? Long Tian Ong, let's put aside our grudges for now and work together to kill Su Fang. Otherwise, there will be no Tranquility Emperor's mansion or Heavenly Law Immortal Realm in this immortal realm. Our lives will be in danger. Long Tian Ong gritted his teeth and said, That's right. You and I should let go of our grudges and work together to kill this man. Kill. Under the orders of Tian Ong Immortal Emperor and Tranquility Emperor, the cultivators from the Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm and Tranquility Emperor's mansion, who were fighting against each other just now joined forces to attack Su Fang. What's the point of your final struggle? Su Fang smiled coldly. A towering domineering aura soared into the sky. Figures were released from the true dragon realm. The cultivators from the White Cloud Immortal Palace were released first. When they saw the cultivators from Tranquility Emperor's mansion and Heavenly Law Immortal Realm, they were extremely angry. Before Su Fang gave the order, more than 500,000 cultivators from the White Cloud Immortal Palace roared angrily and rushed out. Li Haoran activated the 1 million Big Goblin and the Lord of 5 Poisons released the space of the Poison Realm, showing their amazing combat effectiveness. However, the cultivators from the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm and Tranquility Emperor's mansion were the elites of the 2 forces. The White Cloud Immortal Palace alone was not a match for them. Whoosh! More great demons and experts appeared, numbering no less than 100,000. These big goblins and masters had been in the true dragon realm for years with endless cultivation resources. Their strength had changed time and time again. Most of the commanders who followed Su Fang from the worldlet to the immortal realm had grown up to be powerful elders of a force. At this time, under the command of Xian Yintian, the formation formed by the Grand Fusion Magic was more than 10 times more powerful than the cultivators from the White Cloud Immortal Palace, who were 5 times more powerful than them. They immediately stopped the attack of the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm and Tranquility Emperor's mansion. Whoosh! 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 More than 30,000 fire rock monsters sprayed magma at the same time, causing great damage to the cultivators from the Heavenly Law Immortal Realm and Tranquility Emperor's mansion. Then, nearly 50,000 metal monsters were moved out of the true dragon realm by Su Fang. They released their aura and formed a domain of divine might, which made the bodies of the enemies in this area turn into metal. Then, these monsters stabbed the enemies like sharp swords. Master is mighty. The Green Feather Emperor, Bai Ling, Zhu Huang and other big goblin experts, as well as immortal emperors such as Fluttering Snow Immortal, were all elites under Su Fang. They roared and could not wait to attack. Then came old monster Zhu Tian, immortal Peng Hua, Ghost, giant gorilla demon and other peerless experts with the strength of immortal emperors. The cultivators from the heavenly law immortal realm and tranquility emperor's mansion, who had been imposing just a moment ago, only lasted for half an hour in front of Su Fang's absolute power. They began to be defeated and scattered like headless flies. Crushing. The two absolute top forces in this immortal realm were crushed even when they joined forces. Impossible. How could this be? How could a cultivator who ascended from the mortal world have such a strong overall strength in less than 1,000 years? This force can totally sweep this immortal realm. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was dumbfounded. He looked at Su Fang. Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's head was buzzing. In his impression, Su Fang was just a peerless genius with outstanding talent. In the eyes of Immortal Emperor Tian Ong, a genius was nothing. He was just an outstanding ant. No matter how outstanding he was still an ant. At this moment, his previous impression of Su Fang collapsed. Instead, a peerless overlord appeared out of nowhere and rose against the natural order. He would trample the heavenly law immortal realm and tranquility emperor's mansion under his feet. The cultivators from the heavenly law immortal realm and tranquility emperor's mansion were completely scared out of their wits by Su Fang. They either chose to surrender or be killed. As for Tranquility Emperor, Su Fang glanced around and found no trace of Tranquility Emperor. He asked Dugumujian, "Did you let Tranquility Emperor escape?" Dugumujian said, "This man is very cunning. When he ordered to attack you, he escaped in advance." Su Fang raised his eyebrows. "Then why didn't you stop him? Given his current situation, you are fully capable of killing him." Dugumujian said lightly, "This man is powerful. It's a pity to kill him. Besides, he didn't collude with the Devil Clan, so I let him live. Besides, I didn't expect him to escape so decisively. It's impossible to catch up with him." Su Fang was completely speechless about this pedantic peerless sword cultivator. If Tranquility Emperor escaped, there would be a lot of troubles in the future. "It's time to kill Long Tianong and take back my purple Qi Dharma spirit." Su Fang looked at Immortal Emperor Tianong with fierce killing intent flashing in his eyes. "Long Tianong!" A cold shout made Immortal Emperor Tianong feel a chill from the back of his heart. Su Fang stepped out and came to the sky. He looked down at Immortal Emperor Tianong and shouted, "You kidnapped my Taoist companion from the Gate of Myriad Scrolls in the clear sky and threatened to take my treasure. Have you ever thought that this day would come?" "Humph!" Immortal Emperor Tianong snorted and said in a domineering tone, "Su Fang, your strength does shock me. You are qualified to sweep across this immortal realm. But so what? No matter how powerful you are, can you be more powerful than the Heaven's Mandate Bright Heavenly Sect? =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1364. I'm from the Heaven's Mandate Bright Sect. You're just an ant in front of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Sect. How dare you touch my head?" When he mentioned the Heaven's Mandate Bright Sect, Celestial Emperor Tianong seemed to be injected with endless courage and strength. His dispirited state of being injured and defeated was swept away. Tablet e-book Heaven's Mandate Bright Sect? Even if you have Tian behind you, I'll kill you today. Of course, I won't touch your head. I'll take back the treasure that belongs to me, devour your body, and torture your primordial spirit in the demonic flame for eternity. Su Fang's chilling tone made Celestial Emperor Tianong shudder. With a wave of his hand, a ball of demonic flame appeared in his palm. It was the primordial spirit of Celestial Emperor Tianong's avatar, which was tortured by Su Fang in the heavenly demon blood plate. As expected, my clone was killed by you. Damn it! How dare you torture my primordial spirit like this? It's so painful. Celestial Emperor Tianong gritted his teeth. Then, His primordial spirit sensed the immense pain of his avatar. His body also felt the pain, which made the lord of a realm grimace in pain. He shouted angrily, "Su Fang, what a cruel and merciless person you are! What hatred do I have for you to torture my avatar's primordial spirit like this? Deep hatred? Long Tianong, you threatened me with my cultivation partner's life and robbed me of my treasure. Isn't this hatred deep enough? You said that I, Su Fang, am cruel and merciless, but compared to you, Long Tianong, I'm still too weak. It's useless to say more. Long Tianong, die," Su Fang said coldly. Then, he ordered Dugumujian and the other celestial emperors, "This time, no matter what, don't let Long Tianong escape." Yes equals N_1 exclamation point. Swoosh. Swoosh. Dugumujian and the other celestial emperors quickly surrounded Long Tianong. Then, Su Fang waved his arm. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers surrounded the Heaven's Path Immortal Realm and Emperor Ning's mansion, who were struggling at death's door, and forced them to the side of Celestial Emperor Tianong. At this time, the two forces only had less than 100,000 people left. Most of them were injured, and their morale was extremely low. The cultivators of Emperor Ning's mansion were completely desperate. There were only 3 immortal emperors left, and all of them were severely injured. Not only was the sect master of the Heavenly Tao White Sun sect heavily injured, but because he had been poisoned by Gue, his face was filled with black qi, and he looked like he could die at any moment. "Do you really think I'm at the end of my rope? This emperor has experienced the great war of immortals and demons, and has been an immortal emperor for 2 million years. How could I fall so easily?" Tianong Immortal Monarch unleashed his draconic energy. His bones, flesh, and blood crackled as his body expanded to a height of 1,000 feet. He turned into a dragon-bodied giant with a mysterious purple aura on his right arm. It was the third part of the purple Qi Dharma spirit. A 500 feet long golden dragon silhouette, like a real divine dragon, roared and circled around, its aura shaking the heavens. Then, a 10-foot dragon scale flew out from his body. There were golden deity patterns on it, and it emitted golden light. It spun slowly around him, forming a shocking defensive field. "I have the bloodline of the divine dragon. My body is immortal, and my divine powers are heaven-defying. Who in this deity realm can kill me?" Long Tianong, who had turned into a dragon-bodied man, exuded a domineering aura. Luo Shi warned Su Fang, "You have to be careful. This man must have obtained a powerful dragon spirit." He burned the dragon spirit to obtain a powerful draconic energy. Together with the power of the purple Qi Dharma spirit, his strength has skyrocketed. That dragon scale should be the reverse scale of a real divine dragon. Not only is it more powerful than a peak-level Tao artifact, but it also contains some of the divine dragon's divine powers. Don't be careless. Yellow Tyrant Dragon Claw. Tianong Immortal Monarch pointed his right hand at the golden dragon circling around him. The golden dragon unleashed a 10-foot golden claw print, which was as fast as lightning. It tore through the void and clawed at Su Fang. Break. Dugu Mujian unleashed a destructive sword intent, which collided with the claw print, causing an earth-shattering explosion. The sword intent and the claw print shattered at the same time. Dugu Mujian's body was pushed back 100 feet. His face was pale. It was obvious that he had used a lot of energy to deal with that attack. In the next moment, Tianong Immortal Monarch's eyes exploded with a purple-gold light as he locked onto Su Fang. He spoke with an extremely powerful and mysterious voice. "I am the Divine Dragon. With my name and my will, I will take away Su Fang's true qi, essence blood, and primordial spirit." Roar! The golden dragon circling around Tianong Immortal Monarch suddenly raised its head and let out a majestic dragon roar that shook the heavens and earth. A golden-will dragon shadow that was invisible to the naked eye but visible to the primordial spirit instantly covered Su Fang's body. In an instant, an extremely domineering willpower made Su Fang's true qi disappear rapidly. His life origin was consumed rapidly, and even his primordial spirit was about to wither. At this moment, Tian Ong, immortal monarch, was burning his dragon spirit and unleashing the peerless supernatural power of the dragon clan. It was much more powerful than the clone of Tian Ong in the demon sealing tower and the curse of the divine dragon performed by Long Xiaojun. I have supreme luck. Even the curse of the divine dragon can't take it away. A strand of Emperor Qi suddenly burst out from Su Fang's body. A strand of Emperor Qi merged with the Tao of heaven and earth. It had the supreme ability to resolve and turn misfortunes into blessings. It clashed with the power of the curse of the divine dragon, and the two invisible forces were in a deadlock. After devouring Tranquility Emperor's clone, Su Fang's Tao of the Emperor transformed again. It also merged with the luck of the purple Qi Dharma spirit, which gave him the ability to fight against the curse of the divine dragon. However, he still couldn't get rid of it. At the same time, in the ocean of Su Fang's divine aperture, there was a faint sound of thunder. The thunder of fate. The burning Tao runes of fate turned into silent thunder and shattered the power of the curse of the divine dragon. Tian Ong, immortal monarch, activated the golden dragon formed by his dragon qi and roared in pain. His body became much more illusory. Instantly, Tian Ong, immortal monarch, aged more than 10 years and turned into an old man. Now that the curse of the divine dragon was broken, he also suffered from the backlash. Dugumujian, old monster Zhu Tian, and the other immortal monarchs unleashed their auras and attacked Tian Ong, immortal monarch, fiercely. After burning his dragon spirit, Tian Ong, immortal monarch, activated the supernatural power of the dragon clan. Together with the huge dragon scales with amazing defensive power, he didn't fall into a disadvantageous position. Su Fang's eyes emitted an illusory light that shrouded Tian Ong, immortal monarch, and locked on to the purple Qi Dharma spirit in his right arm. It turned out that Su Fang was going to activate the life-shrinking technique and forcibly take the third part of the purple Qi Dharma spirit from Tian Ong, immortal monarch. Tian Ong, immortal monarch, suddenly felt like he was being stared at by a pair of eyes. An invisible hand of fate reached out to him and wanted to take away the most important thing in his fate. What kind of supernatural power is this? Tian Ong, immortal monarch's heart skipped a beat. He instantly formed a seal, and the golden dragon beside him suddenly ignited. The purple Qi Dharma spirit also ignited a mysterious purple Qi and turned into a flame of will and fate. It burned fiercely to resist the hand of fate. Sizzle, although the supernatural power of the dragon clan was amazing, how could it resist the life-shrinking technique of fate? More than half of Tian Ong, immortal monarch's flame of will was instantly extinguished. If it wasn't for the supreme fate bestowed upon him by the purple Qi Dharma spirit, Tian Ong, immortal monarch's purple Qi Dharma spirit would have been forcefully taken away by the illusory power of fate. Puff! Tian Ong, immortal monarch, spat out a mouthful of blood on the dragon's scales. His giant body quickly shrank back to its normal size. The dragon's scales released a supreme majesty that didn't belong to the immortal world. Then, it shot out a golden Xian Guang and sucked Tian Ong, immortal monarch, into the dragon's scales. The moment he was sucked into the dragon's scales, the hand of fate pressed on his body. Tian Ong, immortal monarch, screamed in pain as a Qi meridian was forcefully taken away from his body. This was a purple Qi spiritual meridian. It was like a purple river of stars. It was vast and mysterious. Purple Qi Dharma spirit. Su Fang, you stole my purple Qi Dharma spirit. I will not rest until you die. Tian Ong, immortal monarch's angry and hateful voice came from the dragon's scales. The edges of the dragon's scales exploded with a golden Xian Guang. It tore through the void and was about to escape into the turbulence. Do you think I will let you go? I once swore that I will skin you alive and burn your Yuan Shun in the demonic flames for eternity. Even if you run to the ends of the world, I will not let you go, Mo Lei's true will. A bolt of lightning suddenly shot out of Su Fang's eyes and entered the dragon's scales. Su Fang had cultivated the Thunder Punishment True Body, and he had obtained the Heavenly Slaughter Lightning Emperor's countless resources, lightning-type cultivation arts, and divine abilities from the Great Qin Celestial World's World Origin Seal. Naturally, he had obtained the Thunder Punishment True Body, and it wasn't difficult for him to master this tracking divine ability. Mo Lei's True Will. How do you know the Great Qin Immortal Monarch's supernatural power? Even Mo Lei's True Will can't do anything to me. Su Fang, just you wait. I will come back for you. The dragon's scales disappeared in the turbulence of time and space. Tian Ong Immortal Monarch's voice gradually faded away. The third part of the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit has finally returned to me. Su Fang activated the power of the world and brought the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit to his side. The Purple Qi Dharma Spirit of my family's Su ancestor is all in my hands. Su Fang was so excited that his heart beat wildly. He was overwhelmed with emotions and his eyes were wet. For the third part of the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit, Su Fang went from the small world of Zhao to the Celestial Sealing Sect, and then to the Immortal World. Purple Qi Dharma Spirit. After so many hardships, the third part of the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit was finally in his hands. Within the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit, there was a blood Qi Xian Guang left behind by Tian Ong Immortal Monarch. He took out the Origin Sacred Mirror and activated it to release the Nine Yang True Fire. It swept and burned the blood Qi of Tian Ong Immortal Monarch. In this way, the third part of the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit became ownerless. In the next second, the divine light in Su Fang's eyes changed instantly. This Purple Qi Dharma Spirit had obvious traces of being cut. It was not complete. I used the life shrinking technique to forcibly take the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit from Tian Ong Immortal Monarch, but it was disturbed by the Dragon Clan's reverse scale. So I tore the third part of the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit into two parts. There is still a small part left in Tian Ong Immortal Monarch. Su Fang was not reconciled. He gritted his teeth. He was conflicted and regretful. He thought that he had the third part of the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit, but who knew that it was still not complete? A thunderous voice came from the blood jade in his body. What is there to be disappointed about? You were weak and humble. When you learned that the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit had fallen into Tian Ong Immortal Monarch's hands, you did not despair. Now that you have the strength of an overlord, Tian Ong Immortal Monarch fled like a stray dog and took back more than half of the third part of the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit. What is there to be disappointed about? That's right. I will kill Tian Ong Immortal Monarch sooner or later. There is still a small part of the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit in his body. So what? I planted Mo Lei's True Will in his body. He can't escape from my hands. I will find him directly and take back his life and the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit. Su Fang waved away the disappointment in his heart, revealing a towering domineering aura. =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1365. Tian Ong Immortal Emperor is seriously injured. Even with the Divine Dragon's reverse scale, he can't escape from me. Let's clean up the mess here first. Divine light rolled in his eyes. He glanced at the cultivators of the Heavenly Tao, Immortal Realm, and Emperor Ning's mansion, who were still resisting. Tian Ong Immortal Emperor and Emperor Ning are like stray dogs. It won't be long before you become Su Fang's prisoners. Do you want to be buried with the Heavenly Tao, Immortal Realm, and Emperor Ning's mansion? Those who submit to Su Fang will live. Those who oppose me will die. Su Fang's lofty voice was sent to everyone's ears by the divine power of the world. It was like a supreme master, shaking the mind and breaking the willpower, making it impossible for them to resist. At this time, Su Fang's appearance had changed greatly. This time, first, he activated the Thunder of Fate, and then he activated the life-shortening technique to the extreme to seize the Purple Qi Dharma Spirit. Su Fang had suffered a humiliation that he had never experienced before. How hateful! If I had known this would happen, I would have killed Su Fang at all costs. Today's disaster wouldn't have happened. How could the great Qin immortal emperor's true thought be so difficult to deal with? Even I can't erase it. Immortal Emperor Tian came out of the void in a battered and exhausted state. He was even more furious than Su Fang, but at the same time, he was incomparably shocked. Mo Lei's true will was the great Qin immortal emperor's peerless divine ability, and it was famous for its tracking ability. However, no matter how powerful true thought was, it couldn't be so powerful that Tian immortal emperor couldn't erase it with the help of the divine dragon's reverse scale. Tian immortal emperor didn't know that Su Fang's true thought had the life-shortening technique's ability to capture the aura of fate. Not to mention Tian immortal emperor, even a peak immortal emperor couldn't erase it. He gritted his teeth. Tian immortal emperor made a seal and sent out 3 drops of blood essence. He activated the reverse scale and sent out 3 golden xianguang, covering each drop of blood essence. The blood essence immediately merged with the golden xianguang and turned into 3 lifelike figures of Tian immortal emperor. Even their aura was exactly the same. Go! The 3 figures formed by the essence blood flew off in different directions. Tian celestial emperor activated his dragon scales again and entered the void to escape again. About 3 years passed. Su Fang chased after immortal emperor Tian. No matter how hard immortal emperor Tian tried, he couldn't shake off Su Fang's pursuit like a shadow. In the constellation of 9 heavens, immortal emperor Tian was seriously injured. He was continuously being hunted down and running for his life. He could not find the slightest chance to catch his breath. The former domineering and mighty lord of the heavenly law immortal realm had become pale and gray. He looked like a beggar. He was in an extremely sorry state. It was a void filled with nebulas and impurities. 3 enormous objects floated in the air like 3 layers of blue sky. Auras of various daos seeped out from them. Clear sky's myriad scrolls door. The gate of 10,000 scrolls, ha ha. I've finally reached the gate of 10,000 scrolls. One of my avatars has merged with a part of the world origin of the gate of 10,000 scrolls. The gate of 10,000 scrolls has a deep foundation. It's enough to stop Su Fang for a while. It won't be long before the peerless elites of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect arrive. I'll be saved. Immortal Emperor Tian was ecstatic. His eyes shone with hope, like a drowning man who had grasped at the last straw. Whoosh! Immortal Emperor Tian headed straight for the gate of 10,000 scrolls. 3 days later, the Green Feather Emperor arrived. The gate of 10,000 scrolls? I didn't expect Immortal Emperor Tian to escape to the gate of 10,000 scrolls. Just as well. The gate of 10,000 scrolls owes Xuanxin. Su Fang smiled coldly and flew towards the clear sky's myriad scroll door unhurriedly. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1366. Clear Sky's Myriad Scrolls Door. At the crucial moment of the Green Feather Emperor's tribulation, not only did the Clear Sky's Myriad Scrolls Door abandon Su Fang, they even took advantage of the situation to loot. Su Fang's hatred for the Clear Sky's Myriad Scrolls Door was monstrous. After that, the sect master of the Clear Heaven Myriad Scrolls Gate used despicable means to personally hand Xian Yin Tian and Xuanxin over to immortal Emperor Tian's avatar. As a result, Su Fang was in a desperate situation and almost lost his life. The Purple Cloud Dharma Spirit, the Thunder Punishment Cauldron, and the Demon Sealing Emperor's Heavenly Seal were also taken away. Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin were also on the verge of death. Su Fang's hatred for the Clear Sky's Myriad Scrolls Gate's sect master was no less than immortal Emperor Tian's. Such a sect should have been destroyed long ago. Who would have thought that immortal Emperor Tian would escape to the Clear Sky Myriad Scroll Gate? Buzz, just as he was rushing toward the clear sky's myriad scrolls door, he suddenly felt some movement in his body. Su Fong was taken aback, and then his eyes were filled with joy. Swish! A black Xian Guang shot out from his eyes. It was the second primordial spirit. My main body has successfully taken control of the corpse puppet. The voice of the second primordial spirit was still cold and emotionless. Great, that's great. Su Fong was pleasantly surprised. The corpse refining puppet of Tranquility Emperor had reached the 9th Tao Saint immortal realm. It was absolutely invincible in this immortal realm. In the constellation of 9 heavens, Su Fong used a secret technique to forcefully shackle the corpse refinement puppet within the heavenly creation cauldron. With the powerful power of the second primordial spirit, it was easy for him to kill Tranquility Emperor's young immortal. However, his second primordial spirit spent a lot of effort to refine and fuse with the blood-colored runes in the ocean of the corpse refining puppet's divine aperture. It took him more than 3 years to finally gain control of the corpse refining puppet. Su Fong's heart thumped with excitement as he thought of the terrifying corpse refinement puppet. Unexpectedly, the second primordial spirit's next words were like a bucket of ice water poured over his head. Main body, don't be happy too early. Why? Is there a problem? The reason the corpse refinement puppet is so powerful is because of the celestial stone in its heart. Due to the exhaustion, the corpse refinement puppet can only last for 2 more hours if it wields the strength of a 9th Tao Saint Celestial. If I use ordinary celestial stones as a substitute, my strength will be greatly reduced, and I won't be able to reach the level of a Saint Celestial. Su Fong immediately deflated. Only 2 hours. Law spoke from the blood jade in his body. This kind of refined corpse puppet must have come from some peerless sect in ancient times. Ordinary forces can't afford to use it at all. Immortal stones that surpass the peak of supreme grade can only be found in the myriad worlds at the end of the world. Occasionally, a few pieces would fall into the immortal realm, but it's almost impossible to find them in the immortal realm, unless you go to the ancient battlefield of immortals and demons equals N_1. Su Fong smiled bitterly. It seemed like he had been happy for nothing. However, after refining the blood-colored runes used to control the corpse puppets, I discovered that the formation used to create the blood-colored runes is very similar to Night Demon's method. I can also create it to control the resurrected cultivators and ancient devils. Night Demon? Does the corpse refiners of the primordial era have something to do with Night Demon? Su Fong arched an eyebrow. He was more than a little wary of the strange and powerful Night Demon. That's possible, Law guessed. The corpse refiners must have been destroyed because the righteous cultivators discovered some clues about Night Demon. After pondering for a moment, Su Fong's eyes lit up. If I use the blood rune talisman created by my second nascent divinity and combine it with the energy in the immortal formation to activate the immortal stones, then wouldn't I be able to refine countless corpse puppets? Luo said, the core of the corpse refining puppet is the blood-colored rune and the immortal formation in the heart. The body is also the key. The corpse refining puppet's body is extremely strong, comparable to a Tao artifact. It is not something that can be refined overnight. Su Fong was very confident. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking for individual strength, but quantity. At this time, the great immortal world is full of resurrected cultivators and devils that can be used as materials for corpse puppet. Over the years, I've experimented with using the immortal blood spirit on resurrected cultivators and have gained a lot of experience. Coupled with the method of refining corpses, I can create an army of resurrected cultivators that I can easily control. The second nascent spirit could easily control cultivators and resurrect immortals. However, if there were too many of them, it would be difficult for the second nascent spirit to bear the huge burden. With the method of corpse puppets, he only needed a thought to activate the blood-colored runes. The corpse puppets would carry out the master's orders to the letter. The consumption of the nascent spirit was almost negligible. In other words, some nascent spirit power would be consumed when creating the runes. This method was definitely feasible. Law was also looking forward to it. It's hard to imagine the scene of you waving your arm and summoning an army of 10 million corpse puppets to attack the enemy. 10 million. I'll be satisfied with 1 million. Letting the second nascent spirit try to create the blood-colored runes, he would first experiment on corpse emperors. The second nascent spirit already had the powerful body of a monster immortal and devil. Naturally, it didn't need corpse emperors. It could be used to refine corpse puppets. Whoosh! Su Fang appeared above the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. More than 200,000 cultivators of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate had been waiting for a long time. It's really Su Fang. Swoosh! Swoosh! Following Su Fang's appearance, numerous gazes focused on him in unison. Su Fang was married to the number 1 fairy of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate, Fairy Xuanxin. Who in the myriad scroll gate didn't know Su Fang? At that time, everyone thought that Su Fang was a toad that ate the flesh of a swan. Who wasn't envious, jealous, and even hated him? After hundreds of years, Su Fang came to the clear sky's myriad scroll gate again. He was already famous in the immortal domain and had the terrifying power to sweep across the tranquil Emperor Mansion and the heavenly law immortal domain. Moreover, he was no longer a special disciple of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate, but a great enemy of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. Su Fang! A green-robed old man shouted coldly. He flew across the sky, passed through the formation, and arrived above the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. This person had a vast aura of the great Tao. He was the sect master of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. Su Fang saw this person once during the marriage ceremony. After not seeing him for hundreds of years, he had already surpassed the immortal realm and advanced to the saint immortal realm, becoming an immortal emperor powerhouse. The credit for this was Su Fang's ethereal enlightenment. The clear sky's myriad scroll gate contained various great Taos, and the ethereal enlightenment were suitable for the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. It wasn't strange for him to make a breakthrough in one go. Su Fang mocked, "Congratulations on advancing to the immortal emperor powerhouse, sect master. Unfortunately, you're a short-lived immortal emperor powerhouse. You're destined to die today." The green-robed elder said righteously, "Su Fang, let me ask you. You have a marriage alliance with Xuanxin Fairy, and at the same time, you have become a special disciple of our sect. The clear sky's 1,000 scrolls door has treated you well. Why did you betray the sect, kill your fellow disciples, and harm the righteous path? Shameless!" Su Fang let out a thunderous shout. Then he sneered, "Let me ask you too. Xian Yintian is a senior member of the Clear Sky's Myriad Scroll Gate and is loyal to the sect. Fairy Xuanxin is also a core disciple of the Clear Sky's Myriad Scroll Gate. She has outstanding talent and has made great contributions to the sect. As the sect master, why did you set a trap and capture the two of them and give them to immortal Emperor Tianong? With such despicable behavior, how can you still be the sect master?" Swoosh! 2 figures appeared in front of Su Fang. One of them was a tall and mighty old man with a white beard. He had an imposing aura, as if he was a feudal lord who held the lives of millions of people in his hands. Xian Yintian. Xian Yintian was already an 8th Immortal Realm powerhouse, and had been in charge of many powerhouses in the True Dragon Realm, including Immortal Emperor powerhouses. Naturally, he had a powerful aura of a superior. The other woman's white robe fluttered in the wind. She had a peerless appearance and an ethereal, holy temperament. She didn't seem to belong to this immortal realm, but to the other realms at the end of the world. Fairy Xuanxin. At this moment, Fairy Xuanxin no longer had the aura of the Clear Sky's Myriad Scroll Gate. She was pure, cold, and holy. Her cultivation was already at the peak of the 6th Immortal Realm. She had cultivated the true form of the ice phoenix and often dual cultivated with Su Fang. In addition, she had cultivated in the ice fields of the true dragon realm for the past 100 years and successfully obtained the ice marrow elixir, which was second only to the ice phoenix blood essence. As a result, Fairy Xuanxin's cultivation had improved rapidly. She was 100 times stronger than other cultivators. Xian Yintian raised his white eyebrows and roared, "Sect Master, when you handed me over to Immortal Emperor Tianong, did you think this day would come?" Whoosh! The cultivators of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate burst into an uproar. Back then, Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin had suddenly disappeared for no reason. Everyone had thought that they had been kidnapped by the demon race. 3 years ago, during the Battle of the Constellation of 9 Heavens, it was rumored that Xian Yintian had appeared, but no one believed it. Who would have thought that the truth would be like this? The sect master of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate snorted. Then, he said with conviction, "Xian Yintian, as a member of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate, sacrificing yourself to resolve the crisis for the sect. Did I do anything wrong? If the same thing happened to me, I would choose to sacrifice myself for the sect without hesitation." "Is that so?" Su Fang sneered. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dugu Mujian and other immortal emperors, as well as many powerful cultivators and Big Goblin, as well as hundreds of thousands of cultivators, Big Goblin, and monsters, were released from the true dragon realm by Su Fang. The clear sky's myriad scroll gate was heavily surrounded. Many cultivators of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate were shocked and in despair. When they heard that the Tranquility Emperor residence and Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's elite army had been completely wiped out, they thought it was just a rumor. Now that they had seen Su Fang's overall strength, they finally believed that Su Fang definitely had such strength. What could a mere clear sky myriad scroll door use to contend against such a terrifying force? Su Fang's cold gaze fell on the sect master of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. He said mockingly, "Sect master, didn't you say that you would sacrifice your life for the sect? If you destroy your own cultivation and kneel to Senior Xian Yintian and Fairy Xuanxin to apologize, I can let the clear sky's myriad scroll gate go and even spare your life. What do you think?" The green-robed elder's face turned red. He shouted angrily, "I'm the sect master of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. How can I be humiliated by you? At most, we'll fight to the death." "Sect master, you overestimate yourself. The fish will die, but the net won't break." Su Fang's eyes swept across the people of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. He said proudly, "I'm here today to kill Immortal Emperor Tian Ong and the sect master of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. You can choose to surrender or die." His domineering and powerful voice caused many cultivators to move. Many people revealed hesitant expressions. Given the current situation, the only path they could take was to submit. At this moment, Immortal Emperor Tian Ang's majestic voice came from the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. "Anyone who dares to surrender will die. Guard the clear sky's myriad scroll gate until the peerless powerhouses of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect arrive in a few days. When that time comes, Su Fang will be nothing." The cultivators of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate finally had some fighting spirit. The green-robed elder shouted coldly, "Xian Yintian, you colluded with foreign enemies to attack the sect. Today, I'll eliminate the traitor for the sect. Do you dare to fight with me?" "What a shameless old dog." Su Fang's eyes were filled with coldness. Xian Yintian was furious. He was about to fight when Fairy Xuanxin floated out and said calmly, "Xuanxin will fight with the sect master on behalf of her grandfather. Do you dare to accept?" Everyone was shocked and stunned. Even Su Fang was stunned. Xuanxin has grown to the point where she can fight with immortal emperors? =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1367. The Heavenly Tao Immortal Realm. Tablet ebook. Wang Qing equals N_R. At this moment, the Long family's experts who stayed behind to guard the heavenly Tao immortal realm were gathered in a palace. Each of them looked dispirited and their eyes were filled with despair. The atmosphere in the hall was very oppressive. The heavenly Tao immortal realm's honored guest was Su Fang. In the constellation of 9 heavens, immortal Emperor Tian Ong lost miserably. Not only were all the elites of the heavenly Tao immortal realm wiped out, even immortal Emperor Tian Ong himself was like a stray dog. He was chased all over the world by Su Fang and didn't even dare to return to the heavenly Tao immortal realm. When they first received the news, everyone thought it was a joke. Then immortal Emperor Tian Ong personally sent the news and everyone had no choice but to believe it. They fell into a state of shock and became a complete mess. Although the heavenly Tao immortal realm was still controlled by the Long family and the heavenly Tao White Sun sect, it was like a building made of sand that would collapse with a finger. Su Fang. Su Fang. Long Xiaojun was like an angry beast. He paced back and forth in the center of the hall. His eyes were bloodshot and his face was haggard. The peerless genius of the heavenly Tao immortal realm no longer had the domineering and genius edge of the past. Huang Lingyao stood quietly to the side. His aura became colder and colder. His eyes were filled with anger and regret. He took the initiative to get close to Su Fang and even sacrificed everything to break off relations with Long Xiaojun. Thinking of these things, Huang Lingyao felt a burst of anger, regret, and incomparable humiliation. Su Fang, I will return the humiliation you gave me tenfold. The heavenly Tao immortal realm is about to collapse. I must quickly withdraw. What should I do next? While everyone was frowning, Huang Lingyao was already thinking of a way out. Suddenly, everything in the hall suddenly froze. It was as if the sky was covered. The natural power and laws of heaven and earth were stagnant for a moment. What's going on? When everyone woke up, a man in a gray robe appeared in the center of the hall. This person was wearing a gray Taoist robe. His head, face, and skin were all gray like a stone man. He could not sense a trace of his aura, as if this person did not exist at all. Where are Situjia and Long Tianong? The gray-robed man's voice was calm, but there was a supreme dignity in it. It was like the voice of the heavens. Young Master Long trembled as he said, I am immortal Emperor Tianang's son. Young Master Long, may I ask who you are? I'm asking you a question. A gray divine light flashed in the gray-robed man's eyes. Long Xiaojun felt as if his body, soul, and everything else had turned to stone with a single glance from this person. According to the news, Lord Sidu has already fallen, and Lord Father is currently trapped in the clear sky's myriad scroll door. The gray-robed man said in surprise, Is there such a thing? Tell me about it slowly. After listening to Long Xiaojun's account, the gray-robed man said indifferently, Long Tianong and Situjia are truly incompetent people. Who would have thought that such a peerless genius would appear in the borderline immortal realms? Interesting. Long Xiaojun asked carefully, Senior, may I ask if you are the Lord from the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect? I am Heavenly Lord Xian Shu from the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect. Greetings, Heavenly Lord Xian Shu. After confirming the gray-robed man's identity, everyone in the heavenly Tao immortal realm was overjoyed. They were saved. That was everyone's thought. The gray divine light in Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's eyes scanned across everyone as if he was looking at a bunch of ants. When he saw Huang Lingyao, he raised his eyebrows and looked surprised. Tao body? The energy of Yunxiao's thunder sword? Who would have thought that there would be such a genius in this immortal realm? Are you also from the Long family? What's your name? Huang Lingyao bowed and answered, My lord, my name is Huang Lingyao. I'm not from the Long family, but a disciple of the heavenly Tao White Sun sect. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu nodded and said, Your talent is extraordinary. This immortal realm can't accommodate a peerless genius like you. After I'm done here, Follow me to the heavens mandate Hao Tsang Sek. Thank you, my lord. Huang Lingyao was overjoyed. Huang Lingyao, take me to the clear skies, thousand scroll gate. Su Fang. Haha, what an interesting ant. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu rolled up his sleeves and took Huang Lingyao out of the hall. Su Fang, let's see how arrogant you can be in front of the peerless cultivators of the heavens mandate Hao Tsang sect. Long Xiaojun regained his domineering aura, and his eyes were filled with viciousness and ruthlessness. Huang Lingyao. But when he thought of Huang Lingyao's meteoric rise, Long Xiaojun didn't feel good about it. Clear skies, thousand scroll gate. Whoosh! The green-robed elder and fairy Xuanxin flew above the clear skies, thousand scroll gate, where star fog and impurities mixed. 10,000 sword art. Qi. Qi. The green-robed elder suddenly released a beam of sword qi, which contained all kinds of complicated sword arrays and sword intent. It covered the sky and the sun, forming an area that enveloped fairy Xuanxin. Gudumujian, who was watching from afar, shook his head and said, "You're quite extraordinary to be able to cultivate sword intent to this level. Unfortunately, you've lost the purity of your sword Dao. Your achievements in the sword Dao are very limited." Su Fang didn't have the time to comment on the green-robed elder. He secretly said to old monster Zhu Tian with his essence soul, "Get ready to attack." Old monster Zhu Tian replied, "Don't worry, master. I'm here. I'll make sure mistress won't lose a single hair." Whoosh! A cold energy exploded from fairy Xuanxin's body. Sizzle! The cold air quickly spread in all directions, condensing into an icy domain. The void seemed to be frozen. Even the green-robed elder's shocking sword intent and sword formation became sluggish, losing more than half of their power equals N_R. The green-robed elder formed a hand seal and released a shocking sword light that contained the aura of Dao. It broke through fairy Xuanxin's ice domain and tore through the void. It was like a ferocious beast that pounced towards fairy Xuanxin. Ice Phoenix Sword, Ice Seal 1,000 miles. Fairy Xuanxin formed a hand seal and released a translucent ice phoenix image that condensed into sword intent that shot out with a whoosh. Kacha! There was a crisp sound like an iceberg shattering as the two sword intents clashed. Fairy Xuanxin's ice phoenix sword shattered and the green-robed elder's sword light was also frozen by the cold energy before dissipating into nothingness. So she's cultivated the ice phoenix true body. The light in the green-robed old man's eyes changed instantly, revealing a look of disbelief. A realm immortal 6 paths realm female cultivator was able to resist an attack from an immortal emperor. It was unbelievable. The green-robed elder suddenly released the aura of the ethereal enlightenment. After forming a hand seal, he used the ethereal 10,000 laws Dao and activated the world power of the gate of 10,000 scrolls. The power of the world formed a shocking shackle that enveloped fairy Xuanxin. A shocking cold qi exploded from fairy Xuanxin's body. Immediately after, an incomparably loud and clear phoenix cry suddenly rang out, and the figure of an ice phoenix rose up. Its noble and holy aura was arrogant and inviolable, and it attacked the shackles of the world's divine might, shattering the shackles of the world. Ice Phoenix true body. Sect Master, you should surrender. I'll plead for mercy for you and ask Su Fang to spare your life, Fairy Xuanxin said lightly. So what if you have the Ice Phoenix true body? You're only a realm immortal 6 paths realm cultivator after all. You want to defeat me, an immortal emperor? The green-robed elder continued to activate the world power and combined it with the sword qi to attack Fairy Xuanxin fiercely. He displayed the supreme power of an immortal emperor. Fairy Xuanxin used the Ice Phoenix true body and kept releasing cold sword qi. Gradually, she was at a disadvantage. After all, the difference between their cultivation was too big. Su Fang had been paying attention to the battle. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but worry for Xuanxin. Just as he was about to order old monster Zhu Tian to attack, Fairy Xuanxin suddenly shot out a cold Xian Guang from her palm and released a monster. This was an ant that had been magnified countless times. Its body was 70 to 80 feet tall and looked as if it was condensed from ice. Its eyes flashed with cold light and there were 4 pairs of transparent wings on its back. This is the queen ant of the frost snow ants. Xuanxin actually gave away the queen ant without saying a word. Even I didn't know. Su Fang was pleasantly surprised. There were countless frost snow ants in the ice field of the Zhen Long realm. Among them, there was a queen ant that had amazing talent in the ice field. Even immortal emperors didn't dare to confront it in the ice field. If Su Fang didn't use the Dharma treasure and Tao artifact of the Zhen Long realm, he also wouldn't dare to enter the depths of the ant nest. He didn't expect that this powerful queen ant would be subdued by Xuanxin without saying a word. But thinking about it carefully, it wasn't strange at all. Xuanxin had the blood essence of the Ice Phoenix and cultivated the Ice Phoenix true body. The Ice Phoenix was the supreme existence of the Ice Big Goblin. It wasn't difficult for Xuanxin to subdue a queen ant that was comparable to a powerful immortal emperor with the help of the Ice Phoenix true body. Chi equals N_1. The queen ant opened its mouth and spat out a gust of cold air. Heaven and earth seemed to be frozen. The cold air shrouded the surroundings. The attacks of the green-robed elder were quickly frozen and then shattered with a series of crisp sounds. How can such a powerful big goblin be subdued by a realm immortal? The green-robed elder was shocked and retreated in panic. But he was affected by the cold air and became extremely slow. The queen ant released a ray of cold light that shackled him from the inside out. The sect master of the Gate of 10,000 Scrolls was defeated by Xuanxin. The cultivators of the Gate of 10,000 Scrolls were all shocked and couldn't believe it. Mistress is mighty! Zhu Huang and the other big goblins shouted in unison. The other experts and big goblins all shouted with excitement. Their voices were like a tsunami. Xuanxin brought the green-robed elder over and threw him in front of Xian Yintian. Grandpa, I'll leave this person to you. The green-robed elder couldn't move. There was a pleading look in his eyes. Xian Yintian couldn't help but hesitate. What's the use of keeping such a shameless and insidious person? Gui Gui, I'll leave him to you. Whoosh! Su Fang suddenly released Gui Gui. Gui Gui's body immediately collapsed and turned into blood water. It wrapped around the green-robed elder's body and swallowed him in front of everyone. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Xian Yintian and Xuanxin looked sad. They didn't want to see the destruction of the Gate of 10,000 Scrolls, so they let Su Fang take them into the true dragon realm. The cultivators of the Gate of 10,000 Scrolls trembled when they saw their sect master being swallowed. Their willpower almost collapsed. Su Fang said domineeringly, "Your sect master is dead. Are you still going to be cannon fodder for immortal Emperor Tianong? Those who obey will live, and those who defy will die." Hundreds of thousands of soldiers roared at the same time. "Don't kill me. I surrender." A grand elder of the Gate of 10,000 Scrolls passed through the array and flew toward Su Fang. "We surrender." The other cultivators who were still hesitating completely gave up on resisting. They all left the Gate of 10,000 Scrolls and went to Su Fang. The Gate of 10,000 Scrolls was destroyed. "You dare to betray me? Go to hell." A figure came out of a secret realm in the upper blue sky. He unleashed a huge golden claw that swept across the cultivators of the Gate of 10,000 Scrolls. Suddenly, hundreds of people's bodies were shattered, and a bloody wind blew. It was Immortal Emperor Tianong. =R download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1368. At this moment, Immortal Emperor Tianong had turned into a dragon man again. He had boundless dragon chi and vigorous vitality. His injuries had healed in a short period of time. At the same time, Law shouted, "Be careful, The peerless expert of Tianming Haotsong sect is here. Hong. The void within 1,000 miles froze for a moment. Then, mountain ranges appeared in the void. These weren't real mountain ranges, but a void created by a peerless divine ability that extracted the essence of the heaven and earth and borrowed the power of the stars. Peak Immortal Emperor, run! Dugumujian shouted coldly. He activated the dual swords of destruction to break the shackles in the surroundings. He came to Su Fang's side and was about to escape. At this moment, 1,000 zhang tall mountain formed by a divine ability rapidly condensed in the sky and crashed down. Break! Dugumujian activated the dual swords of destruction to the extreme. A sharp sword chi burst out and collided with the huge mountain. Hong long. The giant peak shook and became only 6,000 feet in size. However, it did not shatter. Instead, it shattered the sword chi and came crashing down with the force of a thunderbolt. It was unstoppable. Su Fang, who was in the state of gigantified Vajrabhati, instantly cast the Xian Huang Six Paths Pagoda. His natal godly aura exploded within his body and the flesh fetus divine armor, and he blasted out a 200-foot palm print. Hong. The earth quaked and the mountain shook. The huge mountain was reduced to 100 zhang in size. It was shattered by the immortal and devil monster's fist. Su Fang's pure yang qi suddenly became weak. The consumption of the gigantified Vajrabhati was too great. However, he finally had a chance to breathe. When he was about to break through the air, Law suddenly exclaimed in surprise and disbelief equals N_1 from the blood jade in his body. A gray-robed man appeared in the sky. He seemed to have fused with the laws and the power of nature in the surrounding void. In other words, he was the embodiment of the laws and nature. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu. Immortal Emperor Tianong finally saw his savior. He was so excited that his eyes were brimming with tears. Hong. Su Fang didn't expect that there would be some Dao runes from the life shrinking technique in his mind. Could it be that this person had some kind of aura that was connected to him? Su Fang sensed Law's agitation and quickly asked, "Law, what happened?" Law's voice trembled. Use the divine life shrinking technique to sense this person. Buzz. He immediately activated the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique and immediately sensed an aura from this person. What shocked Su Fang the most was that although this aura was very faint, it could not escape the detection of the divine life shrinking technique. It was exactly the same as the aura of the blood jade that Luo resided in. Luo, could it be that this person also has a piece of blood jade? Su Fang's heart suddenly beat wildly, and his mind immediately entered the blood space and arrived at the blood prison. Luo's physical body and primordial spirit were separated by an unparalleled expert, each sealed in an ancient, mysterious, and dangerous place. Due to the changes in the world, the blood jade that sealed Luo's primordial spirit had split into several parts. Following the changes in the world, the blood jade shattered and fell into different great worlds. If he wanted to release Luo, he had to gather all the blood jades and fuse with Luo's primordial spirit. However, the immortal world was so vast, and there were countless dangerous places. It was almost impossible to gather all the blood jade. He didn't expect to sense the aura of the blood jade on a peerless expert. No wonder Law was so excited. No, this person doesn't have a blood jade on him. He should have come into contact with the blood jade before, which left the aura of the blood jade. Law's disappointed voice came from the blood prison. Then Law's apologetic voice came again. Su Fang, I'm really sorry this time. I sensed the aura of the blood jade and put you in great danger. This person's cultivation realm has reached the peak of the immortal emperor realm. He is definitely not someone you can contend with. Hurry up and find a way to escape. Law, don't say this. You are my friend. Even if you don't say anything, I will never leave when I sense the aura of the blood jade. Friend. Laura called these two words in the blood prison. He had mixed feelings and did not make any sound for a while. Su Fong suddenly said, "Law, I have to try to catch this person." "What?" Law was shocked. Su Fong's eyes showed a determined look. "This person has the aura of the blood jade on him. This means that he has come into contact with the blood jade. Even if we can't find the blood jade on him, we can find the whereabouts of a piece of blood jade." Law hurriedly said, "Do you know what kind of expert you are facing? Peak of the 9th Tao realm. He is one step away from the peak of the immortal world. Do you have any way to capture him alive? Opportunities are given. It's related to your freedom. It's worth taking the risk equals N_R. Law, don't worry. Even if it's difficult to subdue him, it shouldn't be difficult for me to escape." Su Fong said decisively. Law's body and primordial spirit were separated. He would lose his freedom forever. Living was worse than death. Since he got the blood jade and met Law, Law had given Su Fong too much help. If it wasn't for him, even with the supreme luck given by the purple Chi Dharma spirit, Su Fong would have died long ago, let alone grow to such a high level. At this time, there was finally a clue of the blood jade. If he ignored it, Su Fong wouldn't be able to get over it. It might even affect his Tao heart. What's more, immortal Emperor Tian Ong still had a small part of the purple Chi Dharma spirit. Su Fong couldn't abandon it. "No, it's too risky," Law said decisively. "Law, let me try. Is the peak of the immortal Emperor invincible? I, Su Fong, have stepped on the peak of the supreme Tao realm. I have surpassed Tranquility Emperor and Immortal Emperor Tian Ong. Let's make this peak of the Immortal Emperor my next target." Su Fong's voice carried supreme dominance and the pride of a fearless expert. Law was speechless. Long Tian Ong greets Heavenly Lord Xian Shu. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong bowed respectfully to the man in a gray robe, as if he couldn't wait to kneel down and lick his boots. The Heavenly Law Immortal Realm has dominated the deity region for millions of years, but it was defeated by a cultivator from the realm Immortal Realm and was hunted down like a stray dog. "Long Tianong, you've disgraced the Tianming Haotsong sect," Heavenly Lord Xian Shu said indifferently. Immortal Emperor Tianong was ashamed and his face turned red. "You are Su Fong?" Heavenly Lord Xian Shu looked down at Su Fong like a god talking to an ant on the ground. "I am Su Fong. Greetings, Heavenly Lord Xian Shu." Su Fong bowed and said. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's gray eyes scanned Su Fong from head to toe. Su Fong felt as if he had been seen through from head to toe and he couldn't hide any secrets. Luckily, he had already sealed the power of his body and put the Tao artifact in the palace of heaven and earth. At the same time, he slightly activated the life-shrinking art to cover his body. Even a peak-stage deity emperor like Heavenly Lord Xian Shu couldn't see through him. Since he couldn't see through Su Fong, Heavenly Lord Xian Shu felt that Su Fong was mysterious and couldn't help but be shocked. Then, the divine light scanned Dugumujian and the deity fiend monster's body. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu raised his eyebrows and looked shocked. One of the 10 great Tao artifacts, the dual sword of destruction. What a powerful Tao artifact! What a powerful sword cultivator! And this person, his primordial spirit is so powerful, and his strange yet powerful physical body. No wonder Long Tian Ong lost so badly. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu exclaimed. Then, he looked at Su Fong and said, "Submit to me and I'll give you the identity of the master of the deity region. You'll have the supreme power to control the life and death of thousands of cultivators and even everything in the world." Su Fong curled his lips and said, "Lord Xian Shu, you're the heavenly Tao. You can give me supreme power and status with just one sentence? =_our download address, mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1369. =N_R. The ad on the page began. The Tianming Haotsong sect represents the heavenly Tao and controls the fate of all living beings. I've come to this deity region on behalf of my sect, so it's not wrong to say that I'm the heavenly Tao here. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu said indifferently with an unbelievably domineering aura. Seeing that Heavenly Lord Xian Shu was about to subdue Su Fang, Immortal Emperor Tian hurriedly said, "My lord, he's my mortal enemy." "Shut up!" Heavenly Lord Xian Shu yelled. "You've left the Tianming Haotsong sect for millions of years and barely managed to occupy a corner of the Xianao Great World. Now, you've killed all the elites of the Heavenly Tao Celestial Realm, and even Situ Jie died because of you. If I leave this immortal realm to you to guard, do you have the ability to do so?" Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's words made Tian Ong Immortal Lamp speechless. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu looked at Su Fang and said, "Su Fang, your cultivation talent and overall strength are enough to dominate this deity region. As long as you're recognized by the Tianming Haotsong sect, you'll be qualified to become the master of the deity region." Su Fang said coldly, "Why would the Tianming Haotsong sect be so kind as to give me control of the deity region?" Heavenly Lord Xian Shu said indifferently, "Of course I'll shackle your essence, spirit, and body. As far as I know, you'll have to give me all the peerless Tao artifacts you have." So, the Tianming Haotsong sect wants to control me like a slave and control everything about me. Slave? Not everyone is qualified to be a slave of the Tianming Haotsong sect. You should feel honored to have such an honor, Heavenly Lord Xian Shu said indifferently with supreme arrogance. Su Fang sneered. "Sorry, Su Fang has always been free. I won't be a slave of anyone or any force. Since I've chosen you, you can't decide anything about you. Either you choose to become my slave or you choose to die. Both are extremely difficult things to do." Lord of Heaven Xian Shu smiled indifferently. He formed a seal and pointed at the door of 1,000 scrolls. Lian Shan collapsing heaven. The natural power of heaven and earth quickly condensed into a giant mountain that was thousands of feet high. With the terrifying power of heaven and earth, it crashed onto the azure sky temple. Rumble. The barrier above the dojo only lasted for a moment before it shattered layer by layer and finally collapsed. The huge peak smashed into the upper azure sky's material plate, exploding with a loud rumble. Then, it collapsed and turned into fragments. What a terrifying peak stage, Immortal Emperor! With a raise of his hand, there was a terrifying power that could shatter heaven and earth. The gate of 10,000 scrolls, which had a history of millions of years, shattered and became incomplete from then on. The heavenly mandate Bright Firmament sect represents the will of the heavenly Tao. It controls Bright Firmament and leads the immortal world. Right now I am your sky. Do you dare to defy the heavens? Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's cold voice was not domineering at all, but it was like the voice of the heavenly Tao. No one dared to go against it. As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding space also condensed into a material substance, shackling Su Fang to the point that he could not move. Then, there was a surge of earth elemental power of the world that pressed down on him like a mountain. Su Fang's body suddenly sank. His bones and muscles made crackling sounds as if they would fall apart at any time. Representing the will of the heavenly Tao and controlling the Haotsong. What a heavenly Tao! Su Fang activated the power of the world seed and pushed away the shackles around him inch by inch with difficulty. Then, he stood up straight and raised his head. An unyielding and fearless aura gave people the feeling that even the heavenly Tao could not force him to bow down. Now that heaven and earth are changing, the demon race has entered the immortal Tao on a large scale. Countless ancient demons and cultivators have been resurrected and are harming the righteous cultivators. Since the heavenly fate Haotsong sect claims to represent the heavenly Tao and control the Haotsong and lead the immortal world, they should be like the Azure Cloud Immortal sect back then and fight against the invasion of the demon race. Destroying a sect with a raise of your hand. Lord of Heaven Xian Shu, you are so powerful. But how dare you show off in front of me, a cultivator of the Shao Su celestial realm. How arrogant and ridiculous! If the heavenly Tao oppresses me, I, Su Fang, swear to defy it. Su Fang's voice was powerful and resonant, filled with supreme arrogance and domineering aura. Defy it? A frog at the bottom of a well. How sad and ridiculous! If so, I'll let you know what the will of the heavenly Tao is and what the consequences of defying it are. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu sneered. How dare you defy the will of Heavenly Lord Xian Shu? You really don't know what death is. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong sneered and looked at Su Fang as if he was looking at a dead man. He was very happy. The next second, a ray of gray light suddenly shot out of Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's eyes and landed on Su Fang. If I want you to live, you'll live. If I want you to die, you'll die. I'll make you neither live nor die. A cold voice was heard. In an instant, Su Fang felt a strange power enveloping his body. It was as though the natural laws of the world around him had been reversed. A layer of grayish aura appeared on his Taoist robe before it rapidly turned into stone, as though it had been carved out of stone. Not only the Taoist robe. Su Fang's skin and hair were also petrified. What a powerful divine power! Su Fangdao was shocked. He immediately activated the power of the Black Lotus Real Body and the Blood Change Real Body to resist the erosion of the power of petrification. Crack, crack, crack. Su Fang had a perfected body and the Black Lotus Real Body had matured. With the help of the Blood Change Real Body, the vitality that burst out was extremely powerful. It immediately slowed down the penetration of the power of petrification and then shattered it layer by layer. Boom! A shocking reincarnation sword intent burst out. It turned out that Su Fang had activated the underworld reincarnation sword and the sword chi circled around his body, forming the reincarnation divine power equals N_1. The power of petrification that enveloped heaven and earth was circled around by the reincarnation divine power. Although it didn't counterattack, it couldn't cause any damage to Su Fang. Dugumujian and the immortal fiend monster attacked at the same time. The dual swords of destruction and the yin-yang immortal fiend scissors released a shocking aura. You can actually break my power of petrification. You're indeed extraordinary. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu didn't care about Dugumujian and the immortal fiend monster at all. Instead, he formed a seemingly ordinary seal, but it gathered the natural power of heaven and earth and condensed it into countless meteorites. The large ones were hundreds of feet in size, and the small ones were only 10 feet in size. The meteorites fell from the sky and bombarded Su Fang, Dugumujian, and the immortal fiend monster. This was the power of a peak saint immortal. A saint immortal could create their own space in the void and create laws. High-level saint immortals could extract essence from heaven and earth and form laws to create cave abodes and mountains with natural energy. If they combined their divine power with an immortal array, they could even create a large world. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu, who was a peak immortal emperor, had already turned the domain divine power into a terrifying divine power that was close to real matter. Dugumujian and the immortal fiend monster had no choice but to activate their domain divine power. The former released dense sword intent that covered the sky and shattered the meteorites that fell from the sky. On the other hand, the immortal fiend monster released a unique domain that was a fusion of immortal and devil. It enveloped the surroundings and constantly whittled away the power of the meteorites. However, the difference between them and a peak immortal emperor was too great. Whether it was the sword intent domain or the combined power of immortal and devil, they were constantly shattered and crumbled under the impact of the meteorite. World Seed, Ethereal Primordial Realm. Su Fang fully activated his world force and combined it with the Ethereal Primordial Realm, the Ethereal Primordial Realm. He condensed the natural power within hundreds of feet into a near-real defense. Pung pung pung. Meteorites rained down like a storm. Su Fang, Dugumujian, and the immortal fiend monster's domain divine power finally neutralized this round of fierce attack. The strength of a peak immortal emperor was beyond Su Fang's imagination. It was second only to Tsang Huan immortal venerable's physical body that he met in the Devil Sealing Tower. He could kill an expert with a single gaze. This divine power is the legendary ethereal primordial realm? A glint flashed across Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's eyes. He was shocked and surprised. You do have some skills. No wonder Long Tian Ong was defeated by you. It seems like I have to put in some effort. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu formed another seal. A divine power of the world shrouded the surroundings. Layers of mountain mist rapidly appeared in the void. It instantly turned from nothingness to reality. In an instant, it was as if they had arrived in the middle of a vast mountain. The mountain mist moved, forming a huge pressure and shackling force that surged from all directions. Puff, puff, puff. The domain divine power of Dugumujian and the immortal fiend monster was immediately shattered. Under the huge pressure, Dugumujian, a peerless sword cultivator, couldn't help but spurt out a mouthful of blood. The immortal fiend monster's body was incomparably strong. It only swayed a little and wasn't injured. However, its body was shackled and couldn't move for a while. Although Su Fang's body had reached the perfection stage, his cultivation level was too low. The peak supreme grade defensive Taoist artifact, Moon Divine Armor, dimmed under the pressure. The immortal inscriptions were shattered, and so was the flesh divine armor. Then, he spurted out a mouthful of blood. More shockingly, a gust of earth element natural power rapidly changed the substances in the void. Everything seemed to be turning into a part of the mountain mist. Su Fang, surrender now and become my slave master. I can give you another chance, Heavenly Lord Xian Shu said majestically. A peak saint immortal is indeed very powerful. However, you think you can control my life and death? Ridiculous. He let out an unruly roar. A man in blue appeared in front of Su Fang. He released a gust of ancient qi and shattered the shackling force of Heavenly Lord Xian Shu. Corpse refining puppet. Corpse refining puppet? What a powerful corpse refining puppet. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu looked surprised. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was extremely shocked. Tranquility Thearka's corpse refining puppet? It's impossible. How can you control such a powerful corpse refining puppet in just 3 years? Su Fang's corpse refinement puppet had unleashed the full power of the corpse refinement puppet. Its strength had reached the 9th Dao Saint immortal realm. Although there was still a huge gap between it and Heavenly Lord Xian Shu, it was not a huge gap. Roar. The corpse refining puppet let out an evil roar. The Death World energy clashed with Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's superpower. The mountain mist formed by the superpower was quickly covered with a layer of death qi. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's vital qi and vital qi were also rapidly draining. Boom! Boom! The refined corpse puppet stepped out lightly, and its explosive aura shattered the illusionary mountains. It was 1,000 feet away from Heavenly Monarch Xian Shu, and it pointed a finger at him. Puff! A finger mark appeared on Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's chest. Although he was not injured, a gust of death qi quickly shrouded his body. Such a powerful corpse refining puppet. It really surprises me. However, how can a corpse like this resist my heaven's might? Heavenly Lord Xian Shu used his superpower to disperse the death qi on his body. He started to fight with the corpse refining puppet. At this moment, Su Fang took out the immortal slaying bow. Monstrous murderous qi swept out. Immortal slaying bow. Immortal slaying bow, one of the 10 great Dao artifacts? The 10 great Dao artifacts were so famous that even Heavenly Lord Xian Shu had heard of them. However, he did not take it to heart. Of course, it was not because he was careless. Even if an immortal realm immortal had the 10 great Dao artifacts, how much power could he unleash? =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1370. equals n_1. Go swish. The deity slaying bow shot out a dragon arrow that tore through the sky and collapsed mountains. Tablet ebook. With Su Fang's ability to control Dao artifacts, the power of the deity slaying bow was only slightly weaker than Dugumu Jian's destructive sword Qi. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu felt a strong threat and used his divine power to neutralize the power of the deity slaying bow. The corpse refining puppet pushed forward and forced Heavenly Lord Xian Shu to retreat. Su Fang, you've really exceeded my expectations. Not only have you integrated so many peerless Taoist artifacts, but your ability to control them is also so amazing. A lowly ant in the world immortal realm can actually activate at least 60% of the power of the immortal slaying bow. You can even threaten me. If I don't kill you today, you'll be able to kill me in a few 100,000 years. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He was no longer as superior as before. I don't need to wait a few 100,000 years. I'll kill you today. Su Fang yelled and his energy surged. Another peerless Dao artifact was struck out. Cauldron of Thunder Punishment. After being suppressed to the extreme, Su Fang's counterattack began. Crack! The purple-golden thunderbolt struck Heavenly Lord Xian Shu with a thunderous force. Heavenly Lord Xian Shu called himself Heaven, but he wasn't Heaven after all. He didn't feel good after being hit by the Heavenly Dao Thunder Punishment from the Cauldron of Thunder Punishment. His divine power was shattered and even his energy field was almost shattered. Kill! The monster and Dugumujian attacked at the same time. Whoosh! It turned out that the second primordial spirit had used a powerful primordial spirit attack. The power of the second primordial spirit had surpassed the limit of a saint celestial. Although it wasn't overwhelming, it posed a great threat to Heavenly Lord Xian Shu. The ocean in his divine aperture shook violently. He almost lost his balance. Break! Seizing the opportunity when Lord of Heaven Xian Shu was shaken, Dugumujian activated the dual swords of destruction with all his might. An aura that could destroy all matter exploded, causing Lord of Heaven Xian Shu's domain to completely collapse. The Qi field was shattered, and the sharp sword Qi of destruction swept across his body. Although Dugumujian was only at the Six Paths Saint Celestial stage, he was a peerless sword cultivator. His strength was much stronger than a celestial emperor of the same level. Now that he had fused with the twin annihilation swords, one of the 10 great Dao artifacts, he could wield at least 80% of the twin annihilation sword's power. Even Heavenly Lord Xian Shu, who was at the peak of the 9 Paths Saint Celestial stage, could not withstand the attack. The annihilation sword Qi left a shocking wound on his right shoulder. 2 more white figures were released by Su Fang from the true dragon realm. One of the white figures was Bai Ling. He flew in a strange arc and then threw out a mixed-color ring. It turned into a black circle that was 4 to 5 feet wide. A surge of chaotic energy burst out and shrouded Lord of Heaven Xian Shu. The other white figure was a giant ice ant. It was Xuanxin Fairy's queen ant in the true dragon realm. It shot out a beam of cold light and formed a shocking ice energy that shackled Lord of Heaven Xian Shu. Corpse refining puppets, immortal fiend monsters, Dugumujian, Bai Ling's chaotic energy and the queen ant's ice energy. Even though Lord of Heaven Xian Shu was extremely powerful, he was still shackled for a moment. Su Fang had sent out all the overlords under him just for this moment. Su Fang took out a Dao artifact. The palm-wide, 1-foot-long bluish-white jade piece radiated a vast and powerful aura that seemed to be able to collapse the sky. Xianming Thunder Seal. Su Fang chanted the heavenly secret life shrinking art with his primordial spirit. A soundless thunder was heard. Ancient immortal runes appeared on the Xianming Thunderbolt archive as a wave of astounding lightning-attributed divine might was unleashed from the Xianming Thunderbolt archive. The Dharma and energy in the world became chaotic with the appearance of this Dao artifact. It seemed that the power released by this Tao artifact was above the heavenly way and would destroy the Dharma of the world. Xianming Thunder Seal. Su Fang had been merging with the Xianming Thunder Seal ever since he got it. This was the first time he had activated the power of this king-grade Tao artifact. What Dharma treasure is that? How can it surpass the 10 great Tao artifacts? Impossible. You're just a realm immortal. How can you have such an extraordinary Tao artifact? Lord of Heaven Xian Shu's gray face finally changed. His eyes were filled with fear. Lord of Heaven Xian Shu felt the threat of death from this Tao artifact. There was also an ethereal force that locked onto him, trying to erase him from the world and turn him into nothingness. Boom! An earth force burst out of Lord of Heaven Xian Shu's body and broke the shackles on him. It created a space storm and sent Su Fang's subordinates flying. In a flash, Lord of Heaven Xian Shu quickly made a hand seal and his divine powers turned into layers of mountains in front of him, forming an impenetrable defense. He had thought about dodging the Xianming Thunder Seal's earth-shattering attack. However, he felt that an invisible force of destiny had locked onto him. No matter where he ran, he would not be able to escape from destiny. He could only clench his teeth and resist the attack. A dazzling bolt of white lightning completely overshadowed the radiance of the blazing sun and the 3 evil suns in the sky. The laws governing the operation of natural energy in this void were also distorted, altered, and even shattered by the divine lightning might. The thunderbolt was like a monster that rushed out quickly. The defense formed by Lord of Heaven Xian Shu collapsed and turned into nothingness. However, the thunderbolt was also worn down. Crack! Then there was a thunderous sound in the sky. Lord of Heaven Xian Shu was surrounded by thunderbolts and was directly thrown into the broken space. The space around him was completely shattered and formed a giant black hole, like the mouth of a monster. Immortal Emperor Tianong was affected by the Xianming Thunder Seal's power. He spurted out blood and his dragon-man form kept shrinking. He was then sucked into the chaotic space turbulence. This was the first time Su Fang had activated the Xianming Thunder Seal, and it displayed an earth-shattering power. And it was limited by Su Fang's level. He could only activate 30% of the Xianming Thunder Seal's power. They were both Thunder Tao artifacts, but the Xianming Thunder Seal was much more powerful than the Thunder Punishment Cauldron. The main reason was that the Thunder Punishment Cauldron was incomplete and it had to absorb the power of the Thunder Tribulation. On the other hand, the Xianming Thunder Seal was intact and it was powered by a peerless divine power like the Thunder of Destiny. Its power was certainly unparalleled. A dozen breaths later, the chaotic energy and laws in the world gradually returned to normal. Whoosh! Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu came out of the space 10,000 miles away. His gray robe was a peak gray deity robe, but it was in tatters at the moment. There wasn't a palm-sized part of it that was intact. His exposed skin was damaged by the destructive power of the Xianming Thunder Seal. Pieces of his skin were necrotic and his burnt bones were exposed. There were also invisible injuries. His flesh, meridians and dantian had been destroyed by the power of the Thunder Tribulation. If Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu didn't go into seclusion to recover from such serious injuries, his level of power would drop and he wouldn't be able to return to his peak state without a few 100,000 years. If Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu didn't practice Earth-type cultivation arts and had mastered Earth-type divine powers, his defense would be extremely strong. If it were any other peak stage Saint Immortal, the Xianming Thunder Seal's attack would have been enough to kill them. Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu looked at Su Fang with anger, hatred and fear in his eyes. His body couldn't help but tremble slightly. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? An ant-like being could really go against the rules. Swish! Immortal Emperor Tianong was protected by the power of the Divine Dragon's reverse scale as he escaped from the turbulence of the void. He was already severely injured and was only half dead after being affected by the power of the Xianming Thunder Seal. Su Fang would have definitely died if Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu attacked. Who would have thought that this would happen? Immortal Emperor Tian Ong was shocked and terrified. Immortal Emperor Tian Ong gritted his teeth and said, "Heavenly Lord, if we don't get rid of Su Fang, he'll be your enemy sooner or later. He just used a supreme Tao artifact that's stronger than the 10 great Tao artifact. It must be the weakest. Why don't we take this opportunity to kill him?" "Shut up. Do I need you to tell me what to do?" Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu shouted coldly. Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu scanned Su Fang with his divine light and hesitated. Su Fang also looked very scary. He used half of his life essence to activate the Xianming Thunder Seal with the Thunder of Destiny. His hair was white and he looked like an old man in his 60s or 70s. He looked like he would be blown away by a gust of wind. His life energy was extremely weak. Swish, swish, swish equals N_1. The zombie puppet, Dugamujian, the deity fiend monster, Bai Ling and the queen ant flew over and protected Su Fang. "Brother!" Bai Ling's eyes were filled with tears when he saw Su Fang. "Su Fang, are you okay?" Dugamujian raised his eyebrows when he saw Su Fang's condition. "I'm still alive." Su Fang forced a smile and waved at the Xianming Thunder Seal. He seemed to have lost the strength to take back the Tao artifact. The Xianming Thunder Seal slowly flew into his hand, and was taken back into the Tao Palace of Heaven and Earth. Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu saw this, and he was instantly filled with murderous intent. He flew across the sky and attacked. Suddenly, Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu saw a sneer deep in Su Fang's eyes and his heart skipped a beat. "I've been tricked. Su Fang is so cunning. He wants to lure me in and kill me. Let's go." Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu ran back like lightning and released a gray Xian Guang to wrap around Immortal Emperor Tian Ong. He then flew away. Dugamujian was about to say something when Su Fang said with his essence spirit, "Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu didn't leave. He's hiding in the void. Don't reveal anything." Dugamujian was in disbelief. Even with his cultivation level, he couldn't detect the presence of Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu. Su Fang was only at the world immortal realm, but he could sense Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu, who was hiding in the void. Su Fang sneered and said loudly, "What a pity! I couldn't kill Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu and even let Immortal Emperor Tian Ong escape. Humph, I won't be so lucky next time." Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu, who was hiding in the void, felt lucky. "How could I be fooled by you so easily?" "In the next second. Since you haven't left, stay here then." Su Fang suddenly shouted to the front. He flipped his hand and the Xianming Thunder Archive appeared in his palm again. Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu first sensed that he was locked on by a force and then sensed the terrifying aura of the Xianming Thunder Archive. He was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat and entered the space-time turbulence. This time, he didn't dare to stay for even a moment and escaped as far as he could. "He's finally gone." Su Fang let out a long breath. He staggered and couldn't stay in the air anymore. His body fell down and Bai Ling caught him quickly. How powerful was the Xianming Thunder Archive? Back then, Fei Jingfu, the Emperor of Netherworld, had just merged with the Xianming Thunder Archive and gathered all his strength to activate it once. Su Fang's current cultivation level was much lower than that of the Emperor of Netherworld. This time, activating the Xianming Thunder Archive had almost exhausted all his genuine qi and vitality. In his current state, he had almost lost the power to enter the true dragon realm. How could he activate the Xianming Thunder Archive again? He had just played the empty fort strategy to scare Heavenly Lord of Heaven Xian Shu. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to escape this time. =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review.